A conjurer is never late. She just drives exactly when she means to. Oh, so I need to press this button. Why did that not work? Give me a moment. This one. Ah, we go. It's off. Okay. Hello, Crafter Knight. Hi to Yay. Hi to Lance. I'm a little bit, you know, bit after the scheduled time. It's so late for still loading screen. No, that's from the collab. That's from the collab yesterday. Yeah. Well, today. Oh, did you see the announcements? Oh, the Warhammer stuff that they showed off. The unboxing. That unboxing. There's actually a lot going on there. My goodness. New rules. New keywords. All sorts of stuff. And also, we've got the show and tell for Creative Assembly Day on Thursday. I did because I knew it will all be here. Well,
misery word of the day.
Guess
Conjure.
what? We're playing Rogue
If you are
Trader.
a conjurer, can you conjure up some punctuality?
No, I
Time
can't.
to enslave the cupcakes.
I was almost on time, but then my tummy was like all upsetty spaghetti, so I had to, you know, I had to run away because my tum said so. Oh, don't intern for cupcakes. Also, if you're doing that, use your YouTube safe words. Just being busy lurking in the woods. I don't lurk in woods. That's why grass is in woods. And all sorts of things. And stuff and thing. I don't like it. I don't like it. No. I'd rather be beating up some Iron Warriors. You know, just give them good old kick in the shins. A good old kick in the shins. That's what they need. Yeah. We call her the cryptid of the UK. I'm not a cryptid of the UK. I'm not a cryptid. Also, why do I have cat ears on? Bonk. Yeah. There we go. There we go. But how is everyone? How do you be? I'm moving this. That wire's in my way. It's to my elbow. But how do you all be? I've been painting. Do you wanna see what I've been painting? Bash, I've been trying to make this guy's eye, you know, do the eye thing. Using a Games Workshop brush. He's still got a lot of work to do. I mean, I've basically just done a few base coats and the skins and the shoulder pad. Everything else is just, yeah, base coat. And I've also been doing some gold. Like, you can just about see some of the gold on the arms and stuff. And like, where's this guy? This guy's just a bit more clear on where it's gold. Where it's meant to hitch up to the power suit. Yeah, for power armor. We connect to it. I thought it'd be fun to paint those little connectors gold. Yeah. Well, yeah, there's a lot of work these guys still need doing. I keep not having the time to do them or the energy. But the main reason I wanted to get the hand cam up today is because of this guy. If you don't know why this guy is super important today, I'll have to show you. I'll have to show you. Bing. Bang. Boom. Cool stick. Cool stick. Yeah, it's true. It is a cool stick. Go over here. Ignore that silly fella. There he is. There he is. New Primaris Librarian. Look at this dude. Doesn't his pose look a bit familiar? Also, I just realised. I think the arm's loose. The arm is loose. Did Cupcon steal the Armageddon box? No. This guy is a guy who recently came into my possession. Coincidentally, just because I wanted to make a firstborn army. And this is, I believe, a 2016 miniature. So it's actually not that old of a library. I mean, it's still like nearly 10 years old. No, it is 10 years old. It's their 10-year-old miniature, but still. When did Primaris come out? 2018 or something like that? I don't know. But yeah. So it would have been like one of the last first 4 miniatures that they released. And this guy, his entire pose and stuff is designed to be, you know, reminiscent of that model. Even the way that, if you look at this model, you can see it at the bottom of the screen. Where the rock here, do you know it goes up on this side as he's using his magic? Now, the funny thing is, though, is that, as you can see, he's looking where he's pointing with his staff. But the official model, like the version of this that was on the pack and like you would see on the website, the head wasn't facing this direction. Instead, it was facing forward. So it looked like he was trying to bring it around. But most people who built it like me, where instead he's facing towards where he's pointing the staff because it makes it look so much cooler. And just better. And yeah. So it's fun that they did the same thing here. But yeah, hello Wolf. But yeah, so new librarians of a box. I have no idea what I'm going to convert him into at the moment. Maybe a castellan or something. I don't know. New chaplain. Look at a little smoke coming from his foot. That's interesting. The smoke's coming from here. I would have thought that it would have lined up the smoke with, you know, the jet on the back. So it looks like it's coming from the jet, but no. Doesn't look like that's what they've done. Also, the smoke's going through the rock. I don't really understand some of the smoke trails in that they've done. Oh wait, oh my gosh, sometimes it just like, there we go, cursor. Yeah, the smoke is really weird. But yeah, this guy is new today, we've already seen pictures of him and stuff. It doesn't look like he has any options at all. You could just got for one way to build him. So all the old chaplains with Inferno pistol or plasma pistol, yeah, they're gone, unfortunately. What happens if model snaps off? It goes on a smoke break. Ah! Maybe it's just a very convenient rock. Maybe so. Hi, big guy. I think for only options, it doesn't show an unhelmeted option. Every single model you will see, well, every single Space Marine model that they've announced that has a that you could see in one where it's not wearing a helmet, it does have at least one helmeted option, or in some cases 3. The captain is really cool for that, because you got his normal head. You've got the head with laurels, and it's also a old Mark 10, not Mark 10, Mark 9 helmet or whatever, Mark 8. Stop turning me to cut. Hello, Seradwin. Comically shaped white rock. Maybe. I think they said in the stream everything could have a helmet. Yeah, that's actually good because they've not always done that. I know that in the Leviathan you could have the sergeant of, like, there was 2 squads of 5 for the Infernus Marines, and you could have the sergeants with or without the helmet. And for also an option to basically have it with a bolt pistol or not. And then for other one, it's hard to tell by this picture, but it's actually got one of those beautiful mohawk things, I call them. The little fluffy things, the little brush on the helmet. As well as the laurels on a Primaris helmet. It's really well decorated, which is cool, although his shield just kind of looked like a basic shield. He is a bit disappointing. There's no blade guard in this set. And also, we already have a push-fit model. A push-fit captain with a storm shield. I'll just click on Black Templars. Because if we go down, we'll actually see 2 characters with a storm shield. Both of them are from the old Indomitus box. And I think at least one of them is cooler. We've built both of them on stream. Here we go. Lieutenant with Storm Shield. And he's got a cool pistol. Yeah. And then you've got this amazing dude who is the captain. Look at this. He is so cool. Get that chicken off my head. Hi, Sparky. How you doing? I like 5 people who can paint faces. It's true. And I'm one of them. Ha ha! Well, I mean, I can kind of paint faces. I can't paint them to this level. My goodness, they're amazing. But yeah, this guy's cool because you can also... There's 2 options for this here. You don't have to have the Necron on the base. If you don't want the Necron on the base. But yeah, I really love this piece here. This shield is amazing. It really feels like a proper relic shield rather than just a normal storm shield. And you compare that to, I mean, he's got a cool pose. He's got a lot of nice decoration, but I don't know. This guy is just... It feels weird that they made him. It's not like there's any squad that he can really strongly go into either. Like, okay, sure, he can join the Intercessor squad, but the Intercessor squad is... It's a shooty squad, not a melee squad. So it's... I have a bone to pick with you. He was in the trailer. I know he was in the trailer. But this is still the thing. It's like, I complained in the trailer. Why was he there? Like, that's from the Indomitus. They just randomly brought a guy from the Indomitus box into the game and just took off his cool jazz on his shield. Because of aura moments. Yeah. They could have done like something else. They could have done a captain with a mastercrafted bolt gun or a storm bolter or... You know, there's so many things they could have done instead. Maybe a captain... No, not a captain with jump pack. A captain with a thunder hammer. That would have been cool. You know, something new, something different. And they always have a problem where they generally, for some, like, a character that doesn't go into the boxes very well, or, like, into the other squads. I think librarians are now... Did they mention that librarians are support characters now? I actually can't remember if they did or didn't. So yeah, but for our 4 characters, you've also got a really, really cool banner. One thing I don't like about it is that, do you know this where it says Armageddon here? That is actually carved into the model. So if you don't want it to be an Armageddon banner, and also these skulls are also carved into the model. I say carved, they're molded onto it. So if you don't want it to be an Armageddon banner, you're going to have to do a bit of work to fix that. Can both a librarian and captain join for intercessors, or would you have to make 2? I don't know. I can't remember if they said for librarians now got the support rule. I never actually checked that. That's one of the things I thought. This guy definitely has a support rule, so he can join, you know. But the thing is, even with the support rule, you couldn't have, or as far as I'm aware of the support rule, you can only have 2 characters in a squad, 1 leader and 1 support. So even if a librarian does have a support rule, you can't have him join this squad of Marines. Also, let's check. Are there actually 2 squads of 5? Or is it just 1 squad of 10? Like, there's a sergeant. Let's look. Is there another guy who has the exact same base as a sergeant? I don't see the same base. That looks similar, actually. Is it the same? No, I don't think so. Oh, no, here it is. No, that's a different face. Never mind. Yeah, it's definitely the other leg. Not married. Oh, it might be this space. Yeah, it might be that face. Ow. So I don't know if you can create like 2 squads of 5 if you really wanted to. I do think the intercessors look really cool, though. Hello, Brian. Oh my gosh, is it a raid? It's a raid. Hello, how was your stream, Brian? I am Cupcake Conjurer in name and profession. Also, thanks to the thing, I dodged that piece of meat thrown at me. She is so glued to the screen right now. So I was going through the different things here. But hello, how was your stream? Nobody trusts me anymore. Yeah, I saw you. You were being evil and lying to people in Amogus. But for those who don't know me, I'm Cupcake Conjurer in name and profession. I'm not usually a cat. In fact, I'm not a cat. I'm just a suspiciously cat-shaped cupcake right now. But hello, Sparky. Hello, Paladin Stem. Hello, first name, last name. How you all doing? I hope you had a fun stream. Remember to hydrate, get some good foods, all of that cool stuff. Yeah. This Cupcake Couture in cat and profession. No, that's not true. That's not true. I'm just a cat. I mean a cupcake. I'm just a cupcake. But yeah, I do like the new chest. But we're looking here at the new stuff that was unboxed yesterday. The new starter set for 11th edition of Warhammer 40k. I didn't say it. I didn't say it. Hate for player. Hate for game. No, hate for player and the game, you know. We are looking at the new Warhammer content of the new 11th edition Armageddon box. True. Yes, it's true. It's true. Tell them the lore, Conjurer. Armageddon, also known as... I think I could do something here. Here's your lore. Wait. You can't hear, can you? I just realised. Wait, Windows. Oh, you can hear. You can hear.
Armageddon, the war world. Its soil is worthless, salted by the blood and sweat of generations.
Yeah.
War is all that remains. It rises from the dust and echoes in the sky.
Will be a
promise,
test, but will be.
a cacophony of endings.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't really telling you anything, is it?
Sanguinius'
Wait.
sons, angels of death. We belong here.
Look at that. He got
Our
smashed.
veins burn with his wrath. Our twin hearts
Yeah, this is-
hammer with his rage.
Oh yeah, space means have 2 hearts each.
Is all that we know.
Yeah. Angels of Cupcake. Schmuck.
This world must hold. There can be no retreat. There can be no mercy. There can be no peace. There is
Yeah.
only
That's a ballistic dreadnought to the background. But yeah. So this is just Space Marines versus stuff. Also, did you notice? Never mind, he does have a bionic eye. He does have a bionic eye. Okay. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But it was green! The bionic eye was green! In the thingamajig. The video. Man, to think this is like the 4th time this happened on Armageddon. I don't know, I think it's like the 5th war. If we look at the banner down here, isn't this like the 5th war for Armageddon? I think like 2 of them were against Chaos, so you know. Oh no, I haven't studied. Okay, so Did you see the banner in the trailer? If so, what second did it appear? But yeah, we were looking at all the cool new stuff. So we got a Psychic Space Marine. I was showing off how this is based on a much older model. And if you look at the bottom of the screen, look there, it's here. This is the older model it's based on. Oh, this came recently into my collection. No way she's quitting. If you get this wrong, you get put in the wash. It's true. It's true. Hi, Bob Dean Keeper. There shall be no peace. There shall be no peace. I was a hi, Alabafon Despia. I added no into there because, you know, we need more negatives in the world. Old model still not... Yeah, this isn't a super old model. Like, this came into my collection not too long ago. I've not had time to... I want to paint them on stream. It's just, you know, finding the time and stuff to get stuff done. Bias chat got boiled instead of fried. No! There shall be no. There shall be no peace. There shall be no peace. It's true. There's no peace. There's no peace to be had. Not while people call me stinky. But yeah, we're looking at the new stuff. New stuffs. Look at this dude. He's got a big old ego smashed into his helmet. I shall make peace. I shall make pieces of people. Also, new Vanguard guys. Look okay. They're not amazing. They're not bad either. They got little tabards. They have cool little things on the wrists and stuff. The Terminator. Is that a Terminator's crux? But either way, they got the veteran symbol on the shoulder. Cool helmets with stuff on. Cool little knee pad stuff. Cool swords. And purity seals. A bit simple, but we can imagine that the final squad that will be sold as an individual will be a lot more complicated. Just like the Stern Guard were. Also, look at that guy's scarred face. My goodness. Oh, Bionic Eye. Yeah, they all have lethal hits on the charge, apparently. Which is okay. It's not a sword, but I think getting lethal hits just naturally. They also have one thing I noticed. I need to show you. I need to show you some of the pictures I took yesterday, because I could get some glances at the data sheets, and rather only glances and very blurry. Here we go. Look at this. That's a plasma pistol. The pistol keyword has been changed for close quarters. So that means it can be fired when you're in melee with somebody. But look at this. The weakened version of it is D3 attacks instead of 1, which is pretty fun. Then you've got the overcharged version, which is hazardous. Only 1 attack, but it's damage 2, AP 3, strength 8. Very hard to tell here, but still. They do look like they get a decent number of attacks. It's very hard to see what they've got going on here. For only 2 wounds each, which makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, for about strength 5, AP -2. We got mastercrafted weapons, so they are damage 2 each. We don't know what the full rules will be when they get a final release. So, but yeah, lethal hits of a charge, that's all we know. And they got 1 plasma pistol in the squad. You will have 5 of them in the box. Oh, the ancient that we saw before, this guy over here. Wait, where is he? He's down here. The ancient is basically just using the exact same rules that the ancient has right now. 4+ feel no pain while on an objective and for himself. And he gives everyone +1 objective capturing characteristic. And as you can see, he's got 2 options for head. One of the cool little head. He's also got a nice chest plate and a tabard. So pretty cool, I guess. The only really new one is the chaplain over here. We already had a librarian, that's pretty cool. We already had a Storm Shield captain who was pretty cool. And we already have an ancient who is... Actually, do we have an individual ancient release? Let me check that. I don't know if we do have an individual ancient. I'm just going to type it in. I think we do. Yeah, we do. There's 2 of them. You got this guy who... This guy is not as cool. But he does have a power sword. And he doesn't have a bolt rifle. Hopefully he can have a bolt rifle. Look at that helmet there. So yeah, we already have an ancient. There's also like another ancient as well you can get. Actually, there's 2 different ancients you can get. Because if you go back here, you've got the ancient and Terminator armor. That actually uses very similar. Do you know eagle symbol to this thing? And you've got the Crusader ancient, and you've also got the... Okay, they're not here. Company Heroes. I've already got the Company Heroes ancient over here. Cupcon is also an ancient. No! I wonder how the wording of a data sheet changed because of the new charge rules. I don't know. I don't think much would have changed, to be honest. Except when it comes to maybe the target. I think targets of charges might change the wording. Of the new charge rules might specifically say... No, you choose your target after doing a charge roll. So I don't think wordings will have changed too much of things. So yeah. I don't know what the new rules of this guy is. Well, we already have chaplain with jump pack rules, so I don't really think there has been any change. Same with all of these, they seem pretty basic. Actually, no, this guy does have some of his own cool rules, actually. Is it him? Actually, no, I think that's just for normal captain rules, isn't it? Devastating wounds. Yeah, this is the rules as far as we can see from on the captain. So he's basically the same as the captain for Relic Shield right now. He's got the rights of battle, which is normal. And is this normal? I know they got +2 attacks. I can't remember, did they get devastating wounds before? Once per battle? Cupcon equals big. I am a big nerd. But you know, we like being nerds. Okay, where is this? Where is this? World Eaters, Agents of Ultimates, here we go. Dun 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 dun. So Captain Finest Hour, once per battle. Add 3 to the attack's characteristic of melee weapons, and it has devastating wounds. Okay. Wait, does that say it only adds 2 to the attack characteristic? Huh. Oh no, it must say 3. It might say 3. So yeah, this guy, he seems exactly the same as normal. He doesn't have lethal hits. People wondered if they'll get given lethal hits after these Black Templars gain lethal hits on all of their power weapons and sustained hits on all of their chainswords. As far as we can tell from the new rules, that neither of those things are true. There is a new rule though, which is really cool, and the orcs have this. Both the War Boss and the new Orc Big Boss we'll get to him soon, has this new Cleave special rule, where Cleave was described as Blast, but in melee. So basically, we can assume that for every 5 models in combat, it will get this number of extra attacks. So if it has 5 enemies, it'll get +1. And this might mean that we'll lose sweeping attacks, or maybe sweeping attacks will gain Cleave. I'm a Warframe girl, personally. Yeet. Warframe's cool. I've never played it myself, but I heard cool things about it. Blasting melee is an interesting idea. Yeah. Wait, they have cleavages now. Wasn't paying attention. Yeah, they have Cleave. But with the way that you can see the number here, Cleave 1, rather than just Cleave, where Blast currently is just Blast, I wonder if they're finally going to add the number of extra attacks you can gain via Blast in brackets. Because at the moment, there's like certain anti-tank weapons that have Blast. And honestly, because of the Blast keyword, there's barely any point taking any variant that's like an anti-infantry variant. You just take either the... Like, if you've got a plasma cannon, an anti-infantry cannon, or like an anti-tank cannon, and they all have Blast on them, you just take the anti-tank one. Yeah, you've got to get a few less attacks, but you still got to get enough to just absolutely decimate infantry units. But by having like a hell of a lot more attacks on anti-infantry ones, that would be really cool. Join the Discord. Join the Discord. Yeah, I do have a Discord. I'm hoping that can happen. As you can see, there's still really long lists of what squads they can join. Relic Shield gives +1 wound. 4+ invulnerable save. So for the most part, all of these characters, from what I can tell, have the exact same rules as they've always had. We don't know what the Vanguard are going to be like in the end. All we know is what they currently will be. I'm assuming that when they finally give us a single release for them, that it will have more options. And that the data sheet might have more options on it as well, like more plasma pistols, maybe storm shields. I don't know. Maybe if they can get Inferno pistols, it should be cool. Don't drive a Discord. There's an evil cupcakes there. No, it's not evil cupcakes. They're good cupcakes. Also, it doesn't look like the sergeant can have anything but a chainsword, and it doesn't look like they gave a chainsword sustained hits or anything to make it worth taking over a power weapon or power fist. So if you do get this, I do recommend maybe using some spare parts to, you know, change out what weapon this is. But it's cool how Sergeant actually is holding the bolt gun. I do really, really like the new intercessors though. I don't think these are going to get a single release. Or if they do, I think it will be like the... If we go over here, if I type biologist, I think it might be like this, where if they do get an individual release, it will be on this kit. Something like this. Because this was from the older 5 and set, but I don't know if they are. I kind of doubt that they will get an individual release, but I do really like the overhead options and the chest options. Like, you got the different style of chest plates, different chest styles of them.
Join our mother, the primary chaos.
I'm not a primary chaos. You have the different choices of, like, you know, for shin pads here and stuff. Yeah. And for all specs. And for the different helmet options, like this guy. So they look cool. I also like all the purity seals on them. Like, this guy's got a bionic eye, he's got a bolt pistol. Where's the other purity seals? That guy's got a purity seal there. He's got a little relic here. Little relic. I actually think that's an Armageddon thing. purity seals, cool little thing on his bolt gun, cool little symbol on the bolt gun. You know, they got loads of little extra bits and pieces on from that people have been asking for Primaris. I really love this wrapped up bolt gun. And again, a wrapped up bolt gun there. So, I mean, as a Templar player, these, like, definitely look like they'll be perfect for Templar intercessors. Doesn't seem like there's any options. Similarly, other than the head options, there's no options on any of these characters. Outside of the head options, which is a bit okay-ish. Join and Martha. I am in. Nice. I don't like purity seals. They feel like they're overcompensating for something. Yeah, chaos corruption. Trying to stop it. Yeet. But welcome to the Discord. But then we've got the new Eradicators. So these are described as Eradicators, which is really cool. And they can get up to 21 blooming attacks. They get 3 attacks each. Actually, they can get more potential hits in. Because they get 3 attacks each from having heavy bolters. But their heavy bolters have a blast keyword against infantry. So it means if they fire into like a squad of 20 orcs, each model gets 4 extra attacks. Against it to like a squad of 10 marines, that's 2 extra attacks each. So that means each one will be getting 7 blooming attacks, and they still get the sustained hit. So every roll of a 6 equals another hit. So if you can give them like the +1 hit or whatever, actually, if they firing at like an Oath of Moment target, they can pretty much be guaranteed to be getting like over 21 hits in, like 24 hits coming just flying into your face, which is absolutely insane. Yeah, it seems like a really cool squad. I really like them. I imagine that these guys will be for final release, unfortunately. They might get a final release that's better than this. But we know that the Infernus Marines were the same Infernus Marines that came in the box. Save for work time. Yeah! Erebus sucks! Although without Erebus, we wouldn't have 40k, so... But yeah, I don't think these guys have any options either, other than for helmet. So I'm hoping that this isn't just a final thing. Now, we do know from the Indomitus box set that the Sword Buffing from the Indomitus box set, the Stern Guard from the Leviathan box set, neither of them was the final product, that it became a single release. So maybe it won't be the same for this. But the things that the Sword Buffing and the Stern Guard have is that they had options. Oh yeah, we also know that the Eradicators weren't the final release from the Indomitus box. You can still get those Eradicators if you want to. What is it? It's a Judicia. Here we go. Yeah. You can still get the Eradicators and the Sword Weapon from the Indomitus box set here. And the Chaplain, and the Judicia. This is the only way to get a Judicia, and the only way to get a Sword Buffing Ancient. If you don't just take an Ancient and put a Sword Buffing head on him. But yeah, so these Eradicators though, the final release for the Eradicators did have an option to give you 1 multi-motor instead of a motor rifle. And the Sword Breathing gave you the option to get things like plasma pistols and stuff. But I don't know if these guys will have any options. Maybe that they'll have an Onslaught Gatling. Oh, that would be so cool if you could upgrade one of them to have an Onslaught Gatling cannon. That would be amazing. Oh my god, I hope that's the case now. So you might get a final release of them outside of this. I do know that specifically this Librarian is on the same sprue that the Vanguard come on. So if they do get the Vanguard do come out as their own thing, we might get another box set. I imagine this guy will be similar to other characters, like the Librarian in Terminator armor and stuff, and he'll get a single release, and it would literally just be the same push-fit model. I imagine some of these characters might come with, like, similar to the Stern Guard now, where you can just get them in this box. At least one cool thing is, if this guy gets a proper individual release that's not connected to other sprues, at least this time won't have a character, a unique character, that you can have in your army being tied to, you know, something like that. Like, if you want to do this year now, the only way to get him outside of eBay or converting, kit bashing, or a sword weapon ancient is to literally buy this box set. You have to get all of them, and they're all push fit. With any luck, that's not going to happen with this one. As long as it doesn't happen to the captain, like, you can buy a librarian already, you can buy an ancient already, you can buy this guy already. All of them are already individual models. Not these particular models, but similar models. I reached Earth End today, Earth End being the end of the stream. You'll reach it. You'll reach it. Yeah. Kundra's going to Ash Blossom you before the end. Get Ash Blossomed. Yeah. Wait. I was about to grab a Yu-Gi-Oh deck and just Ash Blossom somebody, but, you know, I can't be bothered. I don't know which decks have Ash Blossom in. In fact, they're probably for ones in my bed, which I can't be bothered to get into. So yeah. I don't know what things will have individual releases, though. Unfortunately, Leviathan did have that horrible thing with these guys. Thanks for head pats, by the way. Like, at the moment, if you want a lieutenant, that's with a lone operative keyword. And if you want the apothecary biologist, you have to buy the Heroes of a Chapter box. Which, again, it sucks. All of these are push-fit models. They didn't bother making versions of them where they could just release them by themselves. The other cool thing from the stream was this thing. This is really cool, actually. Oh, wait. There we go. This thing is really, really cool because there's two things going on with it, in which the Onslaught Gatling Cannon can be switched out for a heavy flamer. If you look here, can have a heavy flamer. Its special ability, and this is the only ability as far as we know, is it can move at d6 inches after shooting. For its rules, where is its rules? I can show you the closest thing that we've got to its rules is this thing. So yeah, it's only got one ability, and this is it can make a normal move after shooting. It's toughness 8, 9 wounds, 3+ armor save, so it's not very durable at all, but it's movement 14 inches. It is much, much smaller than a normal storm speeder. I can show you the scale that they did. This is the scale that they did. This is a normal storm speeder. This is theirs. The new land speeder. But it's got a multi-mount. It's basically an anti-tank platform with some anti-infantry capability. It's got a multi-melter, obviously, but these rockets are storm spear rockets, so they're anti-tank rockets. In fact, can I see what a storm spear? The closest thing we've got is these rules. It's very hard, but it's got 4 different weapons shown here. One of them's a heavy flamer, so this one at the top, because you can just see out tell it says torrent right there, and it's got d6 attacks and 5 AP -1 damage 1. Ballistic skill NA. Then devastating wounds, onslaught Gatling cannon over here, strength 6, AP 0, damage 1. 12 attacks is that? It's very hard to tell. No, it's ballistic skill 3+. 6 attack, 8 attacks? I don't know. And then here's a multi-mount at the bottom. D6 +1 damage. Oh wait, no, that's 48 inches. Okay, that's a storm spear rocket. D6 plus 1 damage. Multi-melt is here with its melt at 18-inch range, D6 damage, AP -4, strength 9. Storm Speed, are they only strength 9? It's very hard to tell because all we got is these blurry images of the data sheets. I also can't tell how many it has. It doesn't look like it's got the twin linked keyword on it, so it looks like it's either got like 2 of them or just 1. Not all flamers having not. No. I think the heavy flamers now automatically ignore cover. Don't forget, cover word has changed now. Cover puts you at -1 to hit. Well, -1 ballistic skill, I believe. Now in 11th edition. So torrent weapons are unaffected already. But now that it says it doesn't ignore cover, unless torrent weapons are changed so that they all just ignore the benefit of cover, what that means is that anything that specifically says it has an ability that procs when you have the benefit of cover means that it can still proc against a torrent weapon. Unless the torrent weapon keyword has been changed. So that is an important note to make. It no longer completely ignores the benefit of cover. It's just going to be weird that half a data sheet will still says ignore cover until they get. There'll probably be a massive data sheet overhaul to put things into the new rules. Every single pistol is going to be changed to a close quarter weapon. Every single torrent weapon is going to probably lose ignores cover. And there's a few other things. A bunch of weapons are probably going to get given the cleave keyword. I don't know if they're going to redo the Legends data sheets for 11th edition. But yeah. Let me see if any of the Storm Spear thing already exists. Rapid response force, not rapid response. Well, maybe. No, it's Hellstrike. Yeah, I don't know how strong the Storm Spear are. Imagine it might be strength 10. But that does not look like it's their strength 10. It's very hard to tell what that blur says, but you can just about tell that's D6 plus 1 there. I think it might be strength 9. Which means you definitely want to get to like +1 to wound or something. Storm Speeder, Hammer Strike. Hammer Strike Missile Launcher is different. That's strength 9 AP -3 damage D6. Thunder Strike has the Storm Fury missiles that are strength 12. Okay, no, I think it's a Storm Fury missile. I think it might be strength 12 because it does get the damage D6 plus 1. It is AP -3. Yeah, it might be a Storm Fury. Also, just realised the Thunder Strike has ballistic skill 2+. My goodness, I never realised that. So yeah, this land speeder does look like it's specifically an anti-tank one. It kind of combines the work of the Hammer Strike and the Thunder Strike without the special rules that make them even better. The Legend Speeder missiles are strength 9, and this is basically pace. Maybe it is strength 9 then, but the damage D6 plus 1 is really weird for a strength 9 weapon. So yeah, and that's literally it for the Space Marines. If you compare this to the Leviathan box set, instead of getting Ballista's Dreadnought, which was a much needed and greatly anticipated model, we instead get the Land Speeder, which is filling a really weird niche. Like, we've already have 3 different Storm Speeders that are arguably better than this. And we already have the ATV for the much lighter version. So the land speeder feels like it's not really needed. What did Cleave? Oh, Cleave is basically blast in melee. So they never described exactly what it does, but I'm assuming for every 5 models that you're in melee with the enemy, in their target unit, you get +1 attack, or plus whatever the number is on your cleave damage. I don't think it's a weak Space Marine release. I think it's a really good starter set. And by starter set, I mean starter. If we compare it to Leviathan, though, Leviathan brought out with it Primaris Terminators, which weren't a thing by then. It brought with it... Now, the Primaris Terminators in the Leviathan box are arguably kind of meh. There's no Chain Fist, there's no missile launchers, there's no Heavy Flamer. You have to have a power weapon if you build them without kit bashing. So, arguably, it kind of sucked for Terminators there. But at least for a new unit. The Infernus Marines were a completely new unit. And they still see a lot of play, especially with drop pods. The Ballistus Dreadnought, really anticipated, significant model. Terminator Captain and Terminator Librarian, again, were new Primaris models. Again, for Captain was a really, really cool model, but again, it being armed with a power sword was kind of meh, which meant waiting for the single release was arguably better. You had the new Lieutenant that couldn't join any squad, but it has lone operative, so that didn't matter. And then you had the Apothecary Biologist who couldn't join any squad, but all of them were new models. So they were fine. You had the Stern Guard, again, new models for the Primaris. This one, for only 2 new units we really have, is this guy's barely even new. We just finally got a Primaris version of him. We already have rules for him, though. But that's fine. So we get 1 new character compared to 4 new characters. We get 3 cool variants of characters we already have. We get a new unit, which is really cool. We get a variant. Now, at least the intercessors look different. That's the one thing I will say. Is that these guys have... Every single one of the new intercessors has so much more character than, like, pretty much any individual intercessor release. Without kit bashing them. And we get another new squad here. So I think it's okay. Oh yeah, one thing they did say is you do not have to use this if you do not want to. This rock, you can just give it a flying stand if you've got a flying stand to give it to, and it will work with the model. So that's fun. I do think its little flying stand here, that smoke, looks super stupid though. Oh yeah, and here's the colour, different Space Marines in colours. Let's open this up. So here you can see ultramarine colours. There's a little impulsive showing here and Storm Speeder. Well, on this, it does look like the Storm Speeder's not much bigger than this, but yeah, it is much bigger. Where was it? This thing. You can see just how much bigger it is. Then we've got these guys. Salamander colours. We can look around to see if there's anything cool here. But I've been looking into the images and I've not found anything of particular note in like the salamander one. But there is something in, not the next one. Crimson Fist, that's cool. The Crimson Fists are really cool. I like how they've got something. And this is a much better look at the head that this guy can have. Is it like cleaving Darktide? I guess so. It basically just helps you deal with hordes in melee. So it's very similar to cleaving Darktide in that regard. Yeah, so you can see them in the different colours and stuff. But if this is the most interesting, these are not going into Legend. Oops. With all the nostalgia, you're surprised the Crimson Fist diorama didn't look like 3rd edition Codex. Same, to be honest. I thought it's not too far off. Crimson Fist are one of the few Space Marine chapters I like. They are cool. But yeah, for ATVs right there, so I don't think it's going to go into Legends. It's not in online only. It's not on Nash Chance to buy or anything like that. Also, you can see if you got the just Assault Intercessors up here. And some Stern Guard. Oh, for it's one thing. Combi weapons. Can I show you something? It's not up here. I'll close off these things. We'll keep him there. But let me find you an image. They specifically, and that is, do I actually have the image here? Oh, I don't have the image here. Oh wait, this is another thing I wanted to point out. This was fun. This isn't exactly what I wanted to talk about, but if you look here, this is for intercessors. As they're meant to be. You can see they've got like the bolt rifle, assault heavy, bolt pistols, a close quarter keyword. You got the grenade launcher with blast. It doesn't have a number next to a blast, so maybe if they aren't going to bring in numbered blasts, it's going to be the same. But you got frack, crack. It's all the same as normal. But look here, chainsword, close combat weapon, and then in brackets, it's got a bold word of the intercessors, which suggests that they've got some keyword on them, and I can't tell what that says. I've literally put it down on the YouTube video and gone by it frame by frame to see if I could get a better image, but this was the best image. It says, it looks to me like it might be twin linked. I can't tell what that's meant to say, this thing, but they've got a keyword. They've got a special ability for close combat weapons. Watermelon, yeah, maybe. No, it is, if it was cleave, you'd see it will be smaller here, and then you'd have a gap, another blur, then a gap, and then the bracket. And there is enough of a blur to see where the gaps appear. So I don't think it's cleave. Almost looks the same length as position, but I doubt it. That's the other thing I thought about. It was either twin linked to me or position. Twin linked because of just how much more paler it appears here. Like it might have a dash. But position is the other keyword I thought it might be. Now it could be. And remember, you have to remember these data cards are specifically for the data of the starter set. And it's very similar to combat patrols, in which combat patrols have their own data sheets. And while they're very similar to the 40k data sheets, they're not always the same. And sometimes, and like, especially starter sets, they're balanced against other people's against this army that they're meant to go up against. So it is possible that they gave the Intercessor Squad precision to deal with the fact that there's like 5 orc characters. Which makes sense, especially since all the orc characters do massive bonuses to the units they've joined. But yeah, other than that, they've got literally the same rules here. You've got this is literally sticky objectives. I could get a better picture where it said sticky objectives. Where it didn't say sticky objectives, but where it went over it. So yeah. And the other one is literally just give them 4 attacks if they all shoot at the same unit, I believe. I couldn't actually tell what that said, but it looks like it's the exact same rule. Cupicon is getting demoted. No, don't demote me! Are you sure if this is even English? Might be. I mean, it could be. I mean, it does say ranged weapons and melee weapons, so probably English. You've been kit bashing custom scourges. Nice. But yeah. What did I want to actually go through? What was I trying to find? Because I think I forgot what I was trying to find. Oh, well, it wasn't for Vanguard. Oh yeah, I remember. So let's look at another new thing that came out. Armageddon Arc boxes. Let's ignore this guy for now. And go down to here. Custom Mega Rocket here. Now gets its own. Now, do you know before where they only gave you anti-infantry with, you know, these custom guns? Yeah. Now it actually gives it a proper rocket launcher profile. I believe it's strength 10, AP -2, damage D6, hits on 5s. And it also gets the big shooter, not the big shooter. It gets a shooter and the rocket launcher attack. So, and it's not a one-shot either, from what they showed. The new Pain Boy looks so boring. I don't think so. I thought the Pain Boy looked kind of cool. Where is he? It looks kind of cool. But one thing I don't like about the arcs, and people keep saying for Space Means Lost, this one. But honestly, I don't know. Like, Weird Boy, no customization options. Pain Boy, no customization options. Banner Knob, no customization options. Big Boss, no customization options. War Boss, no customization. There's no heads, there's no head options, there's no options at all on them. It's like, at least the Space Mean ones had like head options. Even as a tiny saw dude, like he's an Age of Sigmar model at heart. Yeah, this dude's a token. So Pain Boys give you Feel No Pain 5+, which at Age of Sigmar people, that is exactly the same as a ward save. Basically, after you fail an armor save, take your Feel No Pain for each point of damage that would be inflicted. It gives your entire squad Feel No Pain, and once per turn, not once per turn, once per battle, he can use his token, which is Big Rot Orderly here, to return up to, I think, D3 bodyguard models to the unit, I think they said. So, yeah. The boss knob is really good. He's such a cool model. Look at the little squig on his face. He's got a tiny little squig. That's adorable. He's such a cool model. These are all transfers on it. I'll show you the transfers later. And they're quite interesting. But he gives not Feel No Pain. He gives in 5+ invulnerable save to your unit. For those who don't know what invulnerable saves are, it's kind of similar to ward saves. But I mean, it used to be the exact same as a ward save until they changed how ward saves worked. But basically, if you don't get an armor save, or if your armor save is worse than your invulnerable save, you can instead take an invulnerable save. That's basically all it is. So, like, if you've got a 4+ armor save normally, but then your opponent has AP2, so it reduces your armor save by 2, you can just take your 5+ invulnerable instead. But he gives a 5+ invulnerable to the entire unit, so he's just way better than the ancients that Marines have. And when there's a war, he gives everybody +1 toughness. So that means you'll have toughness 6 orcs with 5+ invulnerable saves. He is a support character, so you cannot have him with the same squad as a Pain Boy, as far as I'm aware. And the Pain Boy is also a support character. The new Weird Boy is not a support. Actually, is he a support? I don't think he is. The Weird Boy has, the Weird Boy jump still. So he can just teleport to unit across the battlefield. And he's also got some really cool attacks. This big boss is really cool. You can see his stats over here. 5 wounds, toughness 5. He's basically a lieutenant for the orcs. He gives you sustained hits and +1 charge. And he also has a cleave big chopper. I don't know the stats of a big chopper beyond cleave. So yeah, he's a really cool model in terms of like really good in a unit. He's about to say he's slightly larger than a knob, much smaller than a war boss. War boss is on a 50mm base. This guy's on 40mm base. Same with this dudes. Same with the pain boy. I think the weird boy's on 50mm and the knobs are now on 40mm. You forgot to bring your Todd. Don't worry, the Todbringer is here. Soon. Invulnerable saves are like night haunt saves, I guess. Yeah. The new pain boy is none of the weird gubbins that the old one had. I guess so, but I think I don't know. One of the things is we don't know which models are the final releases of the models and which ones are going to get their own individual release. So one thing you always have to remember is that anything that comes in a starter set should be easier to paint and put together than other models. So I wouldn't expect too many gubbins on units. Although one of the things that was surprising about the Space Marines is just how much extra detail they put on the intercessors and on the captain, which is something they usually like to avoid in starter sets. And the same goes on a lot of the orcs, actually. But we know that this is not the final version of the war boss, and that there will be an individual single. The only thing I dislike about this war boss, by the way, is look how he's straddling just 2 rocks here. I think it looks so silly. I would like to believe that orcs were designed originally for Age of Sigmar. They had to quickly give them guns and part them to 40. I mean, maybe. Yeah, I don't know how the design thing is. But yeah, so we know this guy isn't for final release. We know that these, I hope beyond hope that these orc boys are not for final release. I hope it's similar to how the Gaunts were in Leviathan, where the Gaunts never had any of their special weapons, because these boys here, no special weapons. Oh yeah, grenades keyword is dead. It's now being replaced by the explosives keyword. I forgot about that. Can we actually see it here? Actually, yeah, that's explosives. If there's another picture I have somewhere, it's easier to see the explosives keyword. But yeah. I don't know why they decided to change it to explosives rather than grenade. Here we go. Open image, a new tab. This guy. Explosives over here. Infantry character. Explosives, Imperium Tacticus, Captain with Relic Shield. Yeah. Wait. Never mind. I guess it means things that don't have grenades, like Tyranids, can have explosives. Maybe, actually. That's cool. That'd be really cool if they just wanted to make it more themed, thematic for other factions as well. And it makes sense of things where it's not technically a grenade that they'll use, like it's mines and stuff. So, yeah, but normally Orc Boy squads have big shooters or rocket launchers, and they don't have this here either. So, I'm hoping this isn't the final release. One, I don't want them to release another stupid monopose set for the orcs, because we've had to deal with those stupid monopose boys for ages, and there's so many other monopose orcs. I'm hoping this is not the final Orc Boy release. This might be the final releases of the Weird Boy and the Pain Boy and the Boss Knob. It might not be, and for the Banner Knob, sorry, and the Boss, Big Boss. Yes, more nids. We need a Carnifex plus new. We do need a new Old One Eye. But yeah, the Big Boss is really cool. It's about time we got a lieutenant for the orcs. I'm hoping this means we start seeing more lieutenant style characters coming in. for other factions too. Because a lot of factions are currently missing that sort of thing. But one thing that is important is he's not like a lieutenant for the Space Marines, where a lieutenant can currently join a captain's squad. Unless he gets his own special rule, which he might, he cannot join a squad with a Bossin because he counts as a leader, not a support. Because now they're split into two things. You're either a leader or you support. You can have one leader and one support leading a squad. Actually, he might be able to join a squad if the Orc Boys keep the same rule that if you've got 20 of them, you can have 2 leaders join them. But maybe not. I don't know. Oh yeah, new grots, and you can see that these grots do not have a rough herder. Again, it doesn't look like the old grots are going into legends, because if we go over here to the Orcs, oh yeah, he is a pain boss. Obviously, we've got the old pain boss here, which is this guy's going to stay around. He's basically for the Beast Boys. The old pain boy's gone. I don't think he's even on the website anymore. Sadly, here we go. For Orc Gretchen, yeah, they're called Gretchen, not grots, but they specifically call these ones grots. Oh no, each Gretchen here. Never mind. And grots are surprising little charge. Yeah, they just change the word. Oh yeah, one of the things that's fun is...
Do you have any action figures, Conjurer?
I don't really have... The closest I have to action figures is some drawing figures I have. Yeah. So figures that you can pose and stuff, and they're meant to be like artist reference stuff. But yeah, one of the things that I've actually noticed, and this is really cool about the Orc Boys and the grots to some extent. Look at this guy. Look at his legs. His legs are the same legs as these legs. But his body, like his chest, his coat, his knife, is the same one as this one. And if you actually look at both of these, you can see how they've basically designed the grots so every single... I don't know how interchangeable they are, but at least some of the legs and some of the bodies are interchangeable. And according to this, each grot can also be built in 2 different ways anyway. So yeah, it has 2 build options. So what I'm hoping is it means that each set of legs effectively has 2 body parts. But all of those body parts are interchangeable with one another, because we can see here that while a lot of them are like separated between one another, like you got this body here, which is the same body as there. You got this body here, which is the same body as there. If we look at, is it this guy? No, that's the same one as here. This guy, yeah, this one and this one are 2 unique models. So I'm hoping that it means that there's actually a lot of customizability you can do with these grots. And the exact same thing can be said about the Orc Boys. But if you actually look between them all, you got this guy here, which is the same legs as this guy here. But if you look at that head and that grenade, can we find a different version of it? There's the same grenade on a new kit. Oh, actually, that's on the same legs too. No, it's not. Different legs. Never mind. And where's the same head? Can I find the same head elsewhere on these bodies? Is it that one? No, it's not. He had an open mouth. That one, I think. So yeah, it is cool. If you just look through them, you'll be able to see how they're interchangeable with one another. The Conjured has become Conjurer. The best grots GW have made are the old 2 edition second edition ones. Because every single grot is amazing. They're all equally good. Also, aren't the second edition ones just where there's loads and loads of them in the starter set? Like there's 20 of them or something stupid. with Black Templars, was it? But yeah, there's so I think that's one cool thing. Interchangeable heads so your mob can look different. Yeah. So I'm hoping still, though, that this is not going to be the final release of them. But without the rough herd in the Gretchen squad, people have been wondering if there's going to be a new Gretchen squad in addition or replacing the old Gretchen squad. So there might be, or there might not be. It's hard to know. Then you got the wall track over here, which is really, really cool. We've actually got some
Puff word of
cool
the day.
images.
Burb. I just watched a movie, so that's why I'm a bit late. It was a movie called Life is Beautiful.
Hello, French Puff. Don't worry about being late. I hope you enjoyed your movie. Black Templars were third edition. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, first is Dark Eldar. So that means it was the Blood Angels that was second edition, wasn't it? Oh, that's where you had your cardboard blooming killer can. Where is the thing I'm looking for? Oh, here we go. Here's it next to a Gorka marker war track. If it did. You can see it's much better than the old war track that they had, but it's very cool to see it come back. They said it's specifically designed to work with war bikes. I don't know if it's going to work like for ATV, where it can join a war bike squad. If so, amazing. If not, it could still be fun by itself. War tracks were definitely a big go-to back in the old days of orcs. And it's definitely good in melee. That's one of the things they said. They said it does have a proper big... This is a knob. It does have a proper big chopper. And apparently it does extra damage on the charge or something. So it does sound like it is like all orc-y... Or like all orc-y things, it should be good in melee. Maybe the squad costs 10 points more for the wolf herder. Maybe. But I don't know if they're going to do points costs again. Seeing it for Extremely Human. It was a good movie. Nice. It deserved its Oscar. Nice. And then here's the Dakarig. The Dakarig is super cool. Again, no... Oh yeah, the Wild Track has no customization options as far as I'm aware. It has to have a missile launcher. Other Dakarig also has no customization options. Really, really cool model. It's about the same size as a... From what I could tell, about a Redemptor Dreadnought. It's much bigger than a Death Dread. It's also called a Big Mech Dakarig. So I don't know if it's actually going to be a character or not. So if we look over here, Killer Can versus Death Dread versus Dakarig. You can see the Dakarig is much bigger than a blooming Death Dread. Yeah, it's, as you can see, it's got rocket launchers. It's got the giant shooter on it. So I imagine it's pretty cool. Oh, and they'll be showing off its rules here in community soon. Nice. And there's not much more to say about these arcs. Honestly, no arc models tickled my fancy. Oh yeah, if we compare this to the Leviathan box set and the Tyranids, this guy is roughly equal to them revealing the Screamer Killer. Compared to the Screamer Killer has more nostalgia value than the Dakarig. But the Screamer Killer wasn't really that new. It was basically just a Karn effects that you could already make. Meanwhile, the Kill Rig is definitely new, and it's definitely filling that niche that the orcs currently have of no Redemptor-sized walkers, which is a bit sad. Because at one point, Orcs used to have the biggest Dreadnought. In the fact that they had the what was it called? The Death Dread was bigger than the Space Marine Dreadnought, the Vulnerable Dreadnought, and bigger than a Hellbrute, and it's bigger than a Wraith Lord. It was just the biggest, bulkiest Dreadnought model ever. And then you just had the release of the Redemptor Dreadnoughts, of the Leviathan Dreadnoughts and stuff that just completely trumped the Death Dread. So it's nice to have them have this middle ground again. The War Track is similar to the Psychophage or Psychophage. This definitely wins the nostalgia value. And it's definitely a much more complicated model with a lot more going on than the Psychophage. The Grots are very similar to the Neurogarts, but the Grots win based on the fact that they got more customizability on them. Although the Neurogarts are at least a new unit, and there were more of them. The Arc Boys, there's 20 Arc Boys in the box, well, including the knob. And as a result, they're very similar to the Gaunts in the Leviathan box set, where you got 20 Gaunts, but the Gaunts had absolutely no customization options. These guys at least have some customization options. They're also bigger, better models, especially for knobs. So that's pretty cool. But where they do start losing out compared to the Leviathan, though, is that Leviathan had a Neuro Tyrant, who you can argue is a bit similar to the Weird Boy here, just much bigger. And the Weird Boy is kind of just a rehash of an old model, finally in plastic, where the Neuro Tyrant was completely new. You can argue that the Warrior Prime was very similar to the Big Boss over here, for the Big Boss is, well, actually, they're both great models, but I'd argue the Big Boss is better. Well, the one thing that the Leviathan had is it brought in 2 extra new units as well, in which it brought in the Von Ryan Leapers and the Barbagarts, and it also had the Rippers in it as well. And these guys have nowhere near as many units. Or as many models as like the Tyranids had. The Tyranids had, well, how many models? 20 Gaunts, 11 Neuro Gaunts, 2 characters with 2 tokens, and then another 5 Barbagarts, 3 Von Ryan Leapers, a Carnifex, and a Psychophage. So they had a lot more than what the Arcs had. All of it pretty much other than the Gaunts was brand new. Where for Arcs, you've got Arc Boys and you got Grots, which we kind of already had. It's just new versions of them. We already had a Pain Boy, it's just finally in plastic now. We didn't have a Boss Banner Knob, which is pretty cool. And for our, like, how many characters? Is it 5? Weird Boy, Pain Boy, Boss Knob, Banner Knob, Big Boss, and War Boss. Yeah. So, I mean, it was kind of cool. All the Nid cards in the 5 were replacements: Winged Prime, Prime, Neuro Tyrant, Neuro Trope. Kind of. The Neuro Tyrant is different from the Neurophobe. The Neurophobe is actually the leader of a... The Neurophobe, if you look over here, it's a leader of a Zoanphobe squad. You know what? I'm just going to type in Zoanphobe. Here you go. You still have a Neurophobe in it. It's not a replacement at all. This is a Neurophobe. The Neuro Tyrant. The Neuro Tyrant is kind of a replacement. It's basically a souped up version of a Neurophobe in a mere way. What grade would you give a new Marine and Arc box? I'd give it a silver. No. Blue. Blue. Out of all the colours, I'd give it a blue. Because Talan can't see it. I'm joking. But I don't know. The box is definitely very good. I'd wish that for Arc stuff had a bit more customization into it. I'm hoping that there's a lot of the Arc box that I'm hoping isn't for final release when it comes to individual releases. And it also depends how the sprue is laid out. Like, are they going to lay it out so that if they do individual releases of these models, you can actually get them as individual releases rather than having to buy a pack that has 2 or 3 or 5, 10 models on it? Because they keep doing that with starter sets, and I don't like it when they do that. And I'm really hoping they don't do that again. I just want the 9th edition army rule back in the 11th for Nids. Maybe we will. Neurophobe in 9th edition and Neurotyrant in 10th edition are like the same thing. Just Neurotyrant is less fun and dangerous than the 9th edition Neurophobe. Oh. But yeah. Oh no, it's very hard to say. I'd say all in all, an A+, I guess, for the box. There's definitely some things I don't like about it. Oh yeah, here them painted as bad moons. There's nothing super interesting in here. You got your mega knobs, you've got your more mega knobs, you got your stomp in the background. Nothing seems super new. People were thinking maybe we're going to get new mega knobs, but I doubt it. With all, because they keep appearing in promotional art. Same with a battle wagon over here. Are we really going to get a new battle wagon if they're showing it in promotional art? And with another battle wagon there. War bikes are fair, they're not new. And then there's a war truck, which is, you can see there's no customization options. But obviously these are the best ones. They're death schools. They're death schools, but yeah, you can just throw transfers onto your model and stuff. I like the little mech goggles that are here. So all in all, I think it's a relatively cool box set. There is more stuff though. Let's see. I just need to press that button. Anything new? No. Oh yeah. So one of the things I did find cool is that that instead of having one rule book that has the lore in it and the rules, they're releasing into 2 separate things. So you've got first Operation Imperator book, which is just lore. Operation Imperator, it's fully just a lore book. There's no rules in it, no campaign system, nothing like that. And as you can see, it's just like tells you about Armageddon, tells you about the Space Marines, tells you about the theaters of war, for what Operation Imperator is, what the Dark Millennium is, for Orcish hordes and stuff like that. I don't know if it's going to introduce other factions and stuff. Oh, there you can see this Black Templar here. One of the things I did find super interesting, though, is that they kept mentioning on the stream Black Templar and how cool these models would be as Black Templar. And you can see all of the purity seals and everything. So I wonder if, at the beginning, they originally planned to make them Black Templar. Because, you know, if we go into Armageddon, famously the Black Templar fought there against Orcs. And you've got all these models with purity seals and with the really aggressive, angry screamer helmets. And then maybe like halfway through the design process, we're like, no, we should give this to Blood Angels. It makes more sense. We got jump packs, we got jet packs. Red is a much nicer colour for like people starting the game and stuff. And Blood Angels, you know, they need more visibility. Yeah, I think they realised they eventually wanted to sell all these models. They made them Blood Angels instead. I think that's the other thing, is Black Templar do have a thing of people see this cross. Especially when it's black and white, and they don't necessarily realise that it's not, you know, a certain symbol. Instead, it's literally, it's a St. John's ambulance cross. It's a Knights Hospitaller, which is really ironic for the Templar. But yeah, as you can see, I don't know what this is. That's not Imperial Fist. But it is a fist symbol. But you got salamanders. Don't know who they are. Oh yeah, there's loads of cool new, what's it called, artwork and stuff. And look at here, there's a giant heavy bomber here that I don't recognize. Oh no, click mouse. I don't recognize this thing. This box set is a reference to last time the Blood Angels came to save Yarick. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a big reference to 2nd edition, which is basically the first time of proper 40k and stuff. Wait, is it 2nd edition? Yeah, it's 2nd edition. And the Blood Angels were there first, a much older lore, and the Blood Angels also saved Yarick, so there's definitely a lot of things of the reason for it to be Blood Angels. I just find it interesting if they kept talking about Black Templar in it. I'm like, Purity Seals, keep mentioning Black Templar, Armageddon. You know, Black Templar, we're the actual Blood Ravens, you know. We steal everyone else's gimmicks. Oh yeah, and look at this giant battlefield here. Can we see anything new? Is there anything of this battlefield that they've not shown, that they accidentally have revealed to us? So this is Indomitus Marines. Not Indomitus, Armageddon's box set. Markanauts and Garkanauts. There's the Arky stuff. Sisters of Battle. Oh yeah, one cool thing is here. Look, you got multiple different factions fighting together. And there is actually new ally rules for campaigns. Yeah, I'm just seeing if I can find anything new that they didn't, you know, that they've accidentally or maybe purposely revealed here, but it doesn't look like it. Just some Storm Boys. Just some Guardsmen. Heavy weapons. Another Dakar rig over there. Yeah, definitely nothing new here. They do have a new guard tanks hidden in the smoke, maybe. Maybe. It's a proper old school 40k campaign lore book featuring more than 100 pages of lore on one of the most iconic war zones of the galaxy. If you want to a most comprehensive exploration of Armageddon we've got so far, get your hands on it. I don't know if they'll be releasing it individually. It'd be cool if they did. But you know what it's like. Oh, it follows on from the Return of the Yarick book. Okay. So if you got the Yarick book and you get this, the Yarick book is still on for sale, by the way, if you want to get one. That's very cool for lore. I've not read it yet because I don't have it yet. What else is there? But oh yeah, so new other things is you can see for core rules is a very thin book. I thought at first it was hardback, but no, it's softback. It's definitely a better quality than other rule books though I've had that were softback. They got new chapter approved mission deck in here, and this is like a full mission deck. It's not just for you know, for Armageddon or whatever. And this is for both casual and match play. But then you've got the Dominus campaign deck. Instead of having a proper crusade thing in here, it looks like they're going to make no more crusades. So if you've ever bought a codex, you'll find that in the back of a codex, you've got like how to do a crusade with your faction. And you've got like, if you ever bought any of the current you know, for Return of Yavik, the 500 Worlds, anything like that, you notice that there's like how to run a campaign on this thing. Yeah, this time round, they've decided we're not going to do campaigns anymore. All of the old campaign rules, as far as I can tell, you can still play with in 11th edition if you want to. But what they're doing now is campaign decks. So when you do a campaign, instead you just draw cards. After battles and stuff, you can earn extra cards. I'm not sure how I feel about it. What I'll have to get my hands on it and, you know, also see it in much more detail than it currently is. But it's designed just to make campaigns much quicker and to be less tedious, like less having to note down on pen and paper. But I'm never a fan of cards. Like, I wasn't a fan of cards when they had them for, like, Winds of Magic and stuff like that back in Fantasy. I wasn't a fan of the cards and they brought them for, you know, the Psychic phase and stuff. I wasn't a fan of mission cards. I just don't like having to fidget with cards when I'm playing the game, to be honest. I don't like data cards. I much prefer just having a book with all my information in it. Or an app with all my information in it. If I have to do something randomized, I have an app. I mean, I guess when it comes to randomized stuff, the cards are great. Which is for chapter approved, it's fine. For missions and stuff. It looks like a casual version of Crusade instead of a bunch of notepads with stats. Yeah. Could be contribute. I am canon in Warhammer. The big warpy thing Gaskell has created for fourth. Oh yeah, they've created a giant teleporter. We'll look at it in proper detail when we get the BRB. Bye, Alba. Aluba. But what is it? What do we want? Oh yeah, the big old teleporter that Gaskell has. It's going to be... We're going to look at it in more detail once we get the Armageddon books. We need to look at it. And it will probably be in the other rulebook. Oh yeah, here's a transfer sheet. There's no Imperial Fists on this transfer sheet. No Black Templars. We got White Scars. No Iron Warrior. Not Iron Hands, sorry. You got Crimson Fists, which is pretty cool. You got Salamanders. You don't have Raven Guard. Oh, Raptors. But it is nice that they gave Crimson Fist some transfers. Blood Angels, obviously. Ultramarines, obviously. Salamanders is a very good one to include because Salamanders love burning arcs. And White Scars is a good one to include because this is the Speed War. So, you know, a lot of people be wanting to pick up Evil Sons and White Scars. You know, gotta go fast. And then you got a bunch of arc things. You got Evil Sons, you got Bad Moons, you've got Death Skulls, and you've got the Goths. Actually, I don't think you have a Death Skulls in here. You have blue, which the Death Skulls will use. Blue symbols, and you got these skulls which can be used by the Death Skulls, but it doesn't specifically say that there's Death Skulls here. No, so sad. That's my favorite arc clan. I mean, in lore, how big is it? Oh, how big is it? I don't know. It's described as being held by 4 battleships, like 4 massive cruisers. So it's absolutely massive. I mean, it has to teleport an entire fleet, so you have to imagine it's massive. It's also designed in such a way that if one of them gets blown up, it can easily be replaced. Like the ships that help make the big old teleporter. Coffee. Can you get transfer sheets by itself? I wonder. Maybe they do sometimes sell transfer sheets. If you want to find like transfer sheets by themselves, they usually, if you go into more, build and paint, and then I think it's like under accessories. So you can see Thousand Sons, Ultramarines, Word Bearers, World Eaters, Sons of Horror, Salamanders, Raven Guard, Night Lords, White Scars, Imperial Fists, Iron Hands, Iron Warriors, Dark Angels, Space Wolves, Emperor's Children, Death Guard, Alpha Legions, Blood Angels, Adeptus Titanicus ones, Legio Custodes, Mechanicum, Cafe, High Elf Realms, Empire of Man, Dwarven Mountain Hold, Warhammer Horus Heresy, Solar Auxilia, Legions of Astartes, Kingdoms of Batonia, Dark Angels. So no, you won't be able to get them. I don't think that matters too much because almost every single... If you do like want to play Iron Hands or something, you can just go over here, Space Marines, Iron Hands, and if you go over here, you can get the transfer sheet. Similarly, for most factions, you'll have like an upgrade sheet for them, or it will just be inside the Space Marines. So if you go over to like pretty much any space, will it actually include transfers in here? No, it doesn't include transfers. If we look at a lot of Space Marines, will it include transfers? Like, at Riders, do you include transfers? And a transfer sheet. Yeah. Does it actually show me for transfer sheet it includes? No. But yeah, a lot of them will include for Primaris, the generic transfer sheet. And a lot of the symbols there will just be on the generic transfer sheet. Which, can we just find it over here? No, we can't see it. I was hoping it'd be on these guys. Ah, whatever. Hello, Night Parade. Funny how the Solitaire is the fastest non-aircraft model in the game. Wait, is it? I think the Night Destroyer is technically the fastest now. But yeah, if you buy any ARC models, you usually have these ARC transfers plus a hell of a lot more. And if you buy some Space Marine kits, you generally find most of these. I don't think you usually find the Crimson Fist ones. So maybe one day they'll make a proper Crimson Fist transfer thing by itself. But yeah. Looking at everything else, it does seem everything else is normal. You get 8 to cards, obviously. I love some cool little art of the box. Oh yeah, here we go. With the new Dominatus rules for art alliances and stuff we're talking about, taking place over 3 campaign phases, these dynamic cards set out briefings for individual alliances, assigned agendas, and so on. Each of 3 alliances has 9 unique agendas that they can try and score during their games, and doing so earns them a special card that affects the end of the campaign. They also vie for control of crucial locations of the planet, each of which gives the controlling alliance special rules. This is the easiest way ever to set up a 40k campaign. But if you don't want to do that and you want to just go with your pen and paper method, you can just use one of the old campaign stuff. I mean, literally, coming out not long before this is the Armageddon campaign book, which has full campaign rules for it. So yeah, if you want to do an Armageddon campaign, just get that book. The Dominatus seems to be it. They said it can be used to represent Armageddon campaigns or just pretty much any war zone. I imagine they'll release more in the future. Other than that, I think that's pretty much everything. You get 23 Space Marines. You get 38 push-fit orcs. Conveniently sized. Now, that is a good thing. Like, I can show you how blooming annoying the old Leviathan book is. Where is it? Oh, here we go. So the core rules of the old starter set, right? This giant, thick thing. Look at this giant book. I mean, it's cool. It's got lots of lore and stuff in it. You want to see lore? Mordecai, and it's got loads of combat patrols in it. Combat patrol, Dark Angels. Doesn't actually give you rules of these combat patrols. It just shows you the combat patrols. Space Wolves. Death Watch. Just lots and lots of lore. Death Guard, Hand of Magnus. But yeah, let's eventually get to the rules. So you want to use... Here we go, rules. We got rules. Yeah, trying to like transport this around so you got like a book that you can reference is really annoying. But it's cool that it's got loads of lore in it and stuff. But the issue with this book as well is, yes, it's got lots of lore in it, but it doesn't actually tell you that much about, you know, Leviathan and stuff. You know, what the entire starter set is about. You know, fighting for Tyranids. Instead, it just tells you generically about 40k, which is kind of boring. I mean, if it's it's from a starter set. I imagine most people buying Leviathan weren't people starting the game for the first time. Instead, it was people, you know, starting 11th edition. They already know all of this lore. So, yeah. Oof. Hi, Flash. How you doing? Nah, 52 inches in one turn. That's ridiculous. Base 12-inch move. Battle add 2d6 move. Can advance and charge. We are now 34 inches. 30 inches, sorry. Plus charge. Then 6 inches for dropping out of a transport. Then pile in and consolidate for another 6 inches. Potentially 54 inches. That's cool. Hello, Officer Buck. Hello. So yet, the new... Let me get this back up. There you go. So the new stuff is pretty cool. Oh yeah, and here's like some cool things. Eradicators with heavy bolters. I wonder if they're going to be a separate unit from Eradicators. Like, do you know, with the multi-melters and stuff, and the melter rifles. Raw tracks, Gretchen, banner knobs, yeah, it's 20 orc boys. And then all of this cool stuff. That's pretty nice. Goes over all the models here as well. Just very quickly. The new Operation Imperator. Read more about the lore. For the first time, all of the latest lore contained in a dedicated book. Yeah. You want to see more about the lore and stuff? An overview of the conflict. A chronicle of the beginning of stage of Operation Imperator, from the opening landings and the initial skirmishes to the first pitched battles between Space Marine Liberators and Orc Invaders. Oh. Okay, so it does include some stuff, but that's page 98 where it goes on to about the wider thing on Armageddon, not Armageddon, for wider galaxy. And how many pages did they say it has inside it? 144, 114. So you got 6 pages dedicated to everything that's not Armageddon. Yeah. We need a transport to use the Elder Movement Stone for extra 3-inch dropout to transport. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Operation Imperator has sections that focus on each of the key war zones on Armageddon and lists the forces involved. Can the combined might of the Salamander Stormlords Stormlord! Sigmar is here! Subjugate to some Black Templars, defeat for war. For Wah! Scum Looter and Wah Drecknut in the battle for Hive Infernus. Find out in the pages of this book. Okay, so I'm guessing these guys are the Stormlords. These guys might be the Subjugators. This is just one example of a map of pivotal hives and loads more like this. The battles are brought to life with jaw-dropping miniature photography and art. The proper old school campaign lore book. Does it include battle reports? I want my battle reports. I love it when they include battle reports in these books. Can I use my Sigmar Spearhead in 40k now? Maybe. Maybe. So yeah, it does look like they're going to just show us more stuff and more rules for each of the things over the next week, which will be pretty cool. You can in one detachment also just charge through enemy units, dropping the 6-inch drop out to transport. You can choose not to be overwatched. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Outdoor are cool. Now there's something else that's fun. The 40k 11th edition weren't the only stuff that got sneak peeked recently. We also got what else is there? New. No, CA log. Warhammer Total War. Yeah. Both 40k show and tell. There's a show and tell. A recap on the show and tell that they did. So the show and tell include the stuff about Medieval 3, Rome 2, which were both interesting. Medieval 3 is still very early in development. Rome 2 is getting updates but not new content. Which is surprising. I thought they abandoned Rome 2 by now. I mean, I did. But we're interested in Warhammer 3 and Warhammer 40k Total War. Does someone says anything about the knight remind them of the clown? To be fair, you'd expect Solitaire to be that fast. You don't necessarily expect a big hulking knight to be just going 36 inches. Updates to Rome 2. Didn't they stop content of that game like ages ago? Yeah, they just decided, you know, we want to break all of your mods. They're changing the way that damage is calculated. I think they're addressing a lot of complaints about Rome 2. Like how weird armor is. And they actually changed, some of the changes sounds like stuff they've already done with like Warhammer Total War. But for one thing they did say is that armor piercing on armor will now affect armor piercing just is 50% effective, and I thought that sounded really cool. Because like in Warhammer Total War, armor piercing is like just way too strong into armored units. And being like, able to half it, like would be half effective against it, sounds cooler than just, you know, fully ignoring armor. Just wait till Cuptle reaches 40k subs. Yeah! Oh, that's going to be ages away. Games Workshop must have sent them a big check for Total War 40k if they have enough budget to go back and change Rome 2. I don't think so. Okay, bye, Cup. Got to go. Bye-bye, stop motion. Thanks for popping in and talking to us. I don't think they pay. Generally, Games Workshop does not pay people to make stuff. Instead, people pay Games Workshop to make things on that. You got to realize 40k is one of the most profitable IPs, and Warhammer, extremely profitable IP in gaming. It's not guaranteed profit, like Realms of Ruin would tell you that much. But it's definitely an extraordinarily profitable IP if you can do it well. Space Marine 2 shows you that. Dawn of War, the first Space Marine game. The amount of 40k mods that are out there. So yeah, people are paying. Games Workshop usually gets paid to make the IP, or at least some company will go up to Games Workshop and be like, "Hey, I want to make a game on your IP. Can you give me the license, please?" In fact, if you actually look at some of the games that you can't buy anymore, it's because either the company has gone defunct, and that means you can't buy it because you're not buying it from anybody, or they've refused to renew the license of a Warhammer IP. And what that means is they're no longer allowed to sell the game anymore. And they were paying Games Workshop to use the IP. That's the rule for it. So I don't think Games Workshop paid CA. I mean, I might be wrong there, but that is genuinely not how Games Workshop does the games. Not since Warhammer Online. So it's... But CA has been doing very well for themselves recently. I know that they got in a lot of hot water thanks to Hyena, and then Pharaoh not taking off as much as they'd like. But every single time they release a DLC for Warhammer 3, they make a lot of sales. And Warhammer 3 and the other Total War games keep selling. So, you know, and there's a lot of people who play Warhammer 2 who are only just getting into Warhammer 3. A lot of people who have been playing Warhammer 3 for only just getting the older games and DLCs. So I don't really think they're running out of money. I think it's more about... I think they've improved their position in Sega. Because don't forget, Sega owns CA. And after the fiasco that was Hyena, Sega lost a lot of faith in CA Studios. And as a result, the funding to CA, you know, didn't do too well. But then the... Oh, what's it called? The Thrones one. The one with Tarmacon and Elisif, that DLC just sold like hotcakes. And massively improved CA's reputation again with both the fans and with Sega. The next DLC, the Omens one, wasn't quite as well received, but still did well enough to improve reputation with Sega. So I think that's more about how like they're doing at the moment. I think what they're also trying to do is do a lot of damage recovery with their fans. Because pretty much since Rome 2, CA has been doing a lot of punching the fans in the face in a lot of ways. But they realised that when they set one of the teams onto Pharaoh to make, you know, actually a good game, just how well that went over with fans and how much that was willing to open fans' wallets up. So by going back over to like old games that need these extra work on, like Rome 2, that are still quite well played. Like Rome 2, don't forget, it's still a well played game. And so on. I think that's one of the things. I'm not entirely sure. And I don't know what's going on behind the scenes at CI. I don't know who's giving checks out and stuff. And it might have just been that they're going back to Rome 2 because, you know, they need to make Medieval 3. And a lot of their game... Rome 2 was... You had Pharaoh. But between Pharaoh and Rome 2, I don't think there's been many super well-received games that they had. Because then Attila come after Rome 2 and it was not super well-received. I mean, you had Three Kingdoms. Was that after Rome 2 or before it? I don't know for things. I didn't get into Rome 2 until years after it came out. And then I just didn't like it and went back to Rome 1. But yeah, Warhammer! So there's been a few new things, and most important one is Boris. Boris is a lord of the end times. I think you have to pay for him. But he's got the Todbringer Guard, the Knights Panther, and they've also got some other units that are coming out. And also, I don't know who this Angry Tom is, but apparently everyone was super happy for Angry Tom to be playing End Times. Lot Boris. Can't wait for Warhammer 20k. We got Warhammer 30k. I don't know if we'll ever get 20k though. That's like Age of Strife. No, that would be like the AI Wars. Can I actually like open up the stream where they showed it all off? Oh no. I can, but adverts are evil. Yeah. I'll show you some of it. If we go here, you can see Boris over here. But what's one thing I don't like about the new Boris? It's... Look how he looks so claymation, not claymation-y. He looks like he's made out of Play-Doh or something. Like I'd expected that can be more scarred, more haggard or something. But he's yeah, I don't know why they went for that this time round for him. Now this is development in progress. This is potentially not how he's going to look. And a lot of it's very possible they've not finished making his face textures yet. Because if you don't really know, it's like most of the time when you see scars and, characters looking rough and stuff, most of that's done in textures. It's not done in the modeling per stage. And it's very possible that they're still working on it. They did also switch which eye his patch was on. But yeah, you can see his knights in the background there. We've also got some other fun stuff around here. In which they've got some... Yeah, for Gun Guard, which are heavily armoured. Really nice leadership. Good melee attack. Sunder armor, I think that is, isn't it? Really good melee defense. Really good weapon strength. But actually a really good infantry unit. Like super strong infantry unit, which is, not common for the Empire to have. But it makes sense. They're meant to be good. They don't have a good charge bonus. They also got Crush for Weak. That's not what the symbol is going to be in the end, they said. 80 models. Lots of health as well. So, again, we have to remember development in progress. This isn't necessarily how it's going to look in the end. You see, these guys, again, they have a bit of that clay look to them. One good example of how development is changing. These guys. Look here in silver. The horses. We'll go over a little bit. And yeah, for actually blue. For actually blue. 20k, is that even before for fun? Yeah, that's years before for Thunder Warriors. Yeah, 20k was basically like... I think it's not long before the Age of Strife started. I think that... I don't actually know. I think it was 5,000 years before 30k. So for 25k is when the Age of Strife started. So that's like 5,000 years before it. I might be wrong there, though. But yeah, as you can see, the reason that they've got both the silver here and the... Like, these aren't two different units. It's just literally... there's still so much in development that after they did this off the stream, they updated the horses to be blue. which is kind of funny. See, here we go. Here's the blue horses. So these are the Knights Panther. They are they're dedicated anti-large cavalry. So now if you're not playing as Carl, or you're not got a Carl as a character leading a unit, you can have an anti-large cavalry in the Empire. That's not just the demigryphs with halberds. So yeah, we got proper anti-large cavalry now. Yay! Which is good. Now you can make Reichsguard anti-large if you're playing Carl. The year 20,000 falls within the Dark Age of technology. Yeah, so that is well within the Dark Age of technology. So here we go. Here they are on the charge. We've got, as you can see, massive charge bonus, as you should expect shock cavalry. We're pretty fast. There you go. Yeah, good old charge. Really high armor. Quite good stats as well. Good melee defense for some cavalry. Melee attack could be better, but again, they're meant to be anti-large. I think they were shock cavalry, so we've got a massive charge bonus will make up for that. Then we've got... Oh no! No! Gamble away, advert! You know, I'm just going to let the advert play out. I think, can I skip? No. No, we're not Gamba. No, Gamba. Oh my goodness. How long is this blooming advert? 2 years later, still got the advert. Another advert, Sainsbury's. I'm back. We're still in for thought. No, we're looking at the CA stuff. I was just showing stuff on the live stream. And they got adverts. Oh my goodness. What is it? YouTube now, they've given you unskippable 90-second adverts and you can get 3 of them in a row now. Oh no. This is what you guys feel like when you get adverts on my stream, isn't it? They should teach me to just get YouTube Premium. But I'm not paying 15 quid a month for YouTube Premium. I don't. Ad blocker. You don't ad blocker. Nice. That means I get monies. No. Actually, I can just put it over here. There we go. Wait. YouTube! This is why I've been getting issues. The adverts don't play if you tab out of them. So yeah, we got this thing over here. So they've done some sneak peeks of stuff that we can expect in fantasy. In Total War. No, they didn't used to do that. I mean, I usually have multiple windows open, so it's fine. But no, they didn't used to do that. What the heck? So people have been saying this thing. Oh, I can't show you my blooming without playing it now. Oh, gosh. Ugh. Yeah, this thing is a Luminarch of Hesh. Not Luminarch. Similar to a Luminarch, but not a Luminarch. It's currently in Age of Sigmar, actually. Order, Cities of Sigmar. I've not seen what other people think the other thing is. Here we go. Darn it. Here you go. I think it's this thing. If we look here, big old spike. Which is really cool. Celestial Orrery or something like that. They did it a long while ago. If it's muted or off focus, they just... What? That's evil. Maybe if they just recently did something for phones as well, because, like, they've made it very difficult. Imagine trying to paint that. Oof. Yeah, this is definitely a sub-assembly paint job. But yeah, that's the only one that I can guess at the moment. I'm assuming that the other things are probably going to be Empire focused, based on everything here. I mean, we could have an Imperial Dragon. I was thinking maybe we'll have an Imperial Dragon-y thing. I'll look it up. Imperial Dragon. Warhammer. So you don't know the Imperial Dragon. It's actually called Francis Dragon. Did he ever have an official? I think he did have an official model where he was on a dragon. But I am unsure. No, maybe he didn't have one. You could always put him on an Imperial Dragon. Yeah. 5 new units in total. Panther, Cavalry, Hammer Bros are revealed. They are 3 missing. Yeah. Turning Guards, that's the name. Yeah, for Hammer Bros. What else would it be? Like, it's got a broken chain there. That definitely looks like the Celestial Orrery thing. So basic for Luminarch of Hesh is basically a Wizard of Light with a giant magnifying glass. And the Celestial one is basically a Celestial Wizard with, you know, big old globe, symbol of the solar system. What would they be though? It's hard to know. We can look at like old world models. Empire of Man. It's definitely not a demigryph. Maybe a 2-headed gryph. We already have a Warwolf or Sigmar, don't we? That's not something new. Yeah. We got the Warwolf. No, we'll move over. I'll keep that up. If you want to see it yourself, you can put that onto your own screens. But I am now bringing this over. Can we find... Someone said a thing on the right, the Drakehead might be in reference to the son of Todd, Henrik Todbringer. Henrik Todbringer! What? Crazy stuff. Didn't this used to have a 2-headed? It does have a 2-headed option with him on it. Oh yeah, he already gets this griffin, doesn't he? Ugh. Empire Knights, Pistoliers. Let's look up Heinrich Todd. I'm going to Google Heinrich Todd. Heinrich Todd Bringer. I don't know if it would be him. Like, unless he has a giant handlebar mustache that, do you know, is the shape of a drake. Could be his hammer, I guess. But none of the images I'm finding of him, like for art, suggests that he would have a giant drake thing on him. No. Imperial Griffins are so cool. They would, ENvtuber, be great for mages. Oh yeah, you meant to control V for the D. Because you still can't do D's on your thing, so I had the name copied instead of D. Yeah. It would be great for mages. We've already got a griffin. One of the beast mages can already have an Imperial Griffin. But let's look. Empire of Man command set. Battle Wizards. Here's the Todbringer guard, obviously. He just looks like one of them, does the Son of Todd. Command unit for them. Warrior Priest of Sigmar. They already said that the new Lord is going to be... There's going to be a new hero, I think, which is a Priest of Ulrich. And a Grand Priest of Ulrich is going to be the new Lord. So I don't think these are going to be references to them. Like, here's a Priest of Ulrich on foot, if we want to see them. Yeah, and for one on horse. Doesn't look like it's this model for referencing at all in those things. We got the Grand Masters. Oh, it could be a Grand Master. Ooh, yeah. It wouldn't be for Blazing Sun Grand Master. But yeah, Knight Grand Masters used to be lords you could get to lead your army. Do you know how you got the captains now? And for incredible melee lords, but they could only ride horses or be on foot. Or could they be on foot? I think maybe they could only ride horses. But yeah, it could be a Grand Master, one of those things it's referencing. The Drake, as you call it, is on for weapons. Check the Discord. I checked the Discord. Warhammer. Wait, where am I looking on the Discord? There we go. Ooh, yeah, this could be the Priest of... Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I'll bring it over to here. So for Priest of Ulrich over here. Yeah. So it could be his son, or it could just be for Priest of Ulrich. Wait, what are we looking at now? It's actually a wolf head, not a dragon. Yeah, it's a wolf head. Although the fact that the ears are backwards on this, it is very similar. It's definitely very similar. Definitely the same thing. Although the ears being up is a lot cooler there. The thing that makes me think it's a dragon is just that, do you know, it looks like you got horns back here. But yeah, that's probably a tougher fur like you got here. And then the ears, instead of being up, they're just gone backwards for whatever reason. Actually, that might be one of the reasons why they changed it, because this looks very similar to the Space Wolf head. So maybe. I wonder why the model didn't have anything like that. It looks like he's just got a super tall head like that one character from Star Wars. Yeah. Okay, so that's definitely where that thing is coming from. So what do you think for other thing? It looks kind of like it's from a wolf or a griffin or some great beast. The symbol of the axe might be the double-headed wolf. Oh, wait a
The
minute.
symbol on the axe
Oh,
might be the double-headed wolf.
yeah, that could be like an attempt at it, but they were limited by, you know, the crafting expertise like 50 years ago when this was made. Yeah, I think you're right. Oh no, it's a U for Ulrich. It's a U for, yeah, Ulrich. But this is very clearly also meant to be a U for Ulrich, just with, you know, a fire in the middle and wolf heads on top of it. So yeah, that is cool. That is cool. Yeah. Okay, now we just need to know what the third image is for. You know, I'm just going to make it easy on myself. I'm going to do this. I'm going to just screenshot it and then post it in the Discord myself. Have you seen any? I did try checking through to see what the rumors were, but the only one I saw was the one I already knew, which was the Celestial Orrery, or whatever it's called. Hunting hound. Oh, it could be a hunting hound. Yeah. Hercanium. Oh, yeah, Celestial Hercanium. Yeah, this one is one I already knew, and that's the only one I also found online. And this is one I didn't know. But it makes a lot of sense. And for hunting hounds, that could work. Although it would be a very different. That looks more like a wolf with the amount of hair on it. I mean, it could still work. I mean, it's a wolf pack unit for Ulrich. Also, could be a U for ulcers. He's having a bad time. Oh no. Yeah. I mean, honestly, hounds is good as a guess as anything, if I'm entirely honest with you. I was hoping. Yeah, if I think about it, I was looking at the chain thinking, ooh, Imperial Dragon, and maybe these are scales. You know, maybe I'm just seeing dragons everywhere. Dragon, dragon, dragon. That's a spike on a dragon saddle. That's just a dragon. That's just a dragon. Or do you know, like, some sort of big beast? But yeah, the chain is just like a normal size chain. But instead, it could just be, you know, a hound. So yeah, that's cool. Could be wolf riders. No, we already have wolf riders for goblins. There's no Imperial wolf riders. A hungry man thinks of bread. What type of cupcake thinks of dragons? Units available to Midland Army during the Storm of Chaos campaign. See, this is all before my time. Ooh. Ooh, okay. So let's bring this up. So car units, knightly orders, knights of a white wolf. Oh, it could be white wolves. I don't think it'll be hunting wolves. I think it will be for white wolves. If remember that one mod we had the ability to summon wolves and to recruit wolves. I think it's more likely going to be something like that. It might not be. It might just be hunting dogs. But it didn't look like a dog. You know, that neck on it. It looks more like more wolfen. But let's like Essential of a White Wolf, Priest of Ulrich, Wolfkin, Wolf Buffer. I mean, it could be Wolfkin. Hunting Hounds. I hate Reddit's images. Like, if I open image in new tab, it's just Reddit still. It's the most annoying thing. You can't zoom in onto them. You have to copy the image, paste it somewhere else where you can zoom in. And, you know, then open image in new tab again. And then bing, bang, boom, we can zoom in. But yeah, Hunting Hound, Wolfkin, Wolf Buffer. Huh. Yeah, I'm hoping for Wolfkin over Hunting Hounds. Hunting Hounds sound like they wouldn't be that great. I don't think it's a unit that the Empire needs. I mean, they could be good, I guess. What is a Wolfkin? Actually, what is a wolf buffer? Like my buffer? Is your buffer, Talan? Don't worry about it. Look, we'll look up Wolfkin. Wolfkin. While the Fadgans of Sigmar might wander around cities, bleating about their fences and heating each other with sticks, the followers of Ulrich take a different path. Those who become convinced of their own or the world's sinfulness take the path of a Wolfkin. Berserk warriors who travel the Northern Empire looking for trouble and then fighting it head on. Yeah, that sounds fun. I mean, I doubt it will be them again, but, you know, you could always hope. That's why if I went back to Rome 2, they had to copy the code for how the war dogs work. Potentially. Did Rome 2 have war dogs? I know Rome 1 had war dogs, but I don't remember them being in Rome 2. I didn't play that much. I mostly played in the East as well. And a bit of Greece. And Pontus, obviously. I mean, you play Rome so you can play Pontus. This is what we all know. This is what we all know. Some people might get that joke. Others won't. I mean, yeah, Hunting Hounds. I'm not excited if it's Hunting Hounds. I'll be more excited for Wolfkin. Found some of images of these guys. Ooh, okay, I'll look for Discord. Oh, it's another Reddit page. Oh, I can't see images. Oh, I'd have to get a VPN going, and that's awful. Children of Ulrich, unlikely. Winter Wolves of Middenheim. I can't see images on Imager. They're banned in UK. I need a VPN. Can you copy and paste them onto the Discord for me? If you can. Please. Oh my bad. Yeah, it's an I can sometimes see them. Like if someone posts a link onto a Reddit page or something like that, sometimes I can see for previews. But if I try clicking on them, it'll be like, you can't see this image. It's like, oh, I hate this. Being in the UK sucks now. Because everything runs on Imager, apparently. So yeah, that would be fun. They did announce other stuff while we're waiting for that stuff. But Boris Todbringer, I was excited to say I'm for Boris. He's not for anything. They did talk about the new character pack. Oh, here we go. Ooh, Wolf Riders. Ooh, that's so cool. The Winter Wolves of Middenheim and the Razorbeak-mounted Knights of Shining Talons amongst them. Most famous, however, are the Demigryph Knights. Oh, yeah, we might get Wolf Riders. Children of Ulrich are a human capable of transforming into a form of a wolf. Ooh, that could be good. That makes more sense to me. So I'll show you some of these things. Let me open in a new tab. So these are some, I think this is probably a kit bash somebody made. But yeah, so Wolf Riders instead of Demigryph Knights. And I think that would be very fitting.
Show the whole class.
I am. I'm just reading stuff first, you know. And the Children of Ulrich. Strength 10, Toughness 10. Initiative 10, Agility 10, Dexterity 10, minus 10. Bless me. So this is from the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. So Children of Ulrich are basically werewolves, except for changing to wolves, apparently. I think that could be, it could be them. We already have skin wolves in the game, and it would be fun to, you know, see something similar. But it's undeniable that chaotic corruption can cause lycanthropy. Can exacerbate lycanthropy, sorry. The W stands for wolf, obviously. What's the W stat? It's only for wounds. So this is actually not telling you what your model would be like, but this is like, have a normal character, and this is a bonuses you give them. So increase a weapon skill, do nothing to the ballistic skill, increase the strength, toughness, initiative. I'm guessing I is initiative. Oh no, intelligence there. Maybe. No, it'd be initiative if it's a wolf. Agility, dexterity, reduce. I don't know what that would be for. But this is very similar to, do you know, if you play Rogue Trader, very similar type of skill set. No, that's wolf stat. Makes no sense for I to be intelligence, because no way. Yeah, that's what I mean. Dexterity. But it's weird that you'll have initiative, agility, and dexterity. That's really weird. Oh, int is definitely intelligence. There you go. Willpower is WP. Fel is fellowship. W is probably their wounds profile. And M is their movement. So yeah, I've never played Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, so I don't know a lot about it. But yeah, these could be cool units to have and stuff. But yeah, they weren't the only things announced. There's some game updates. They want to update for AI again, and they're still trying to fix the stupid problem that happens if your armies, if there's too many entities upon the battlefield, your ranged units would take longer to basically line up a target and respond to orders and to shoot when they're on fire at will. So if there's barely any entities, they'll shoot very quickly. If there's loads of entities, they'll take longer and longer until they just stop responding. And that's one of the biggest issues. They have done some work to fix it, and sometimes they fix it, but then it breaks again. Basically, the more they try to add to the game and expand upon it, the more it breaks this thing. So it's very difficult for them to fix. But we've used this to reduce AI's prioritization of defending key regions. We're also trying to make it so that the AI spreads their armies out more rather than just, stockpiling the armies onto a settlement. CA employs when they have to fix the game because they keep breaking the game again. I literally think that the update that people were working on one version of a game, trying to create content, and then you got the people who are bug fixing, working on like the live version of the experimental version of a game. And I think what happens is when the people are ready to release new content, it kind of backtracks the bug fixes. So then they have to go back and try fixing all the bug fixes, and you're like, well, by that point, they got very limited time to do it. That's what I kind of think it's like. Because that's the only time I've heard of, stuff like that just constantly happening, where you got like 3 versions of it. The bug fixing version, the live version, and then the creation version. Well, that's generally to do with things like websites and stuff and, minor apps, not big old games. Hello, Blank. Gun ranged armies have such a hard time. They do, especially archer armies. Yeah, the main thing that you want to do is just don't have big battles. Try to turn large battles off, and that way it reduces the number of entities on the battlefield. And for shooty army, this unless you've gone full artillery, this often isn't a bad thing to do, because it means that there's less units for you to shoot. Although sometimes when you've not got a good place to set up any deployment zone and you need to move, your enemy won't be waiting for reinforcements. So that sucks. We had a code that has just been stacked on top of itself has caused a lot of problems. Yeah. It's a one game that they had running for a long time. That's almost one game, true. Most games they make on their own thing, often or not. Yeah. On top of this, it's not just that, but Warhammer was built on the code of other games. And CA, I think, had that problem before where, each of their games is basically the old game with a new coat of paint on, especially the very early CA with things like Medieval versus Rome versus Medieval 2 and stuff. And Shogun. Then they changed up the engine. But now they're going to Unreal, which means that they had to really start from scratch a lot. But I've experienced sequels like this, yeah. The reason a lot of Warhammer 2 books came back in 3 was because they were using a previous version of the game to develop it. It makes sense. I believe CA is currently in a fresh Adeptus Mechanicus situation. They have this code that is older than them and nobody... Actually, that is kind of true. A lot of the original developers... Because while they did redo their game engine, like when they went into things like Rome 2 and stuff, it's still... at its core, kind of the same engine. And a lot of the times they said they've updated the engine or whatever. It's literally just an update to an engine that already existed. And a lot of the code, a lot of the way these things work, a lot of the current developers weren't there when it was originally put out. And obviously since then, they've had a lot of developers come and leave since Warhammer first came out. And as a result... you do have, and then you've also had, the different teams come in and then be switched out to different games. And then it's like you had the Pharaoh team switching into Warhammer 2 and Warhammer Total War 3, sorry. And so it is very much a lot of people are coming into it not fully aware of, just what the previous developers have done. And then having to contact them and stuff, so... it's still the same engine from Empire Total War. Kind of. I mean, it is very changed a lot, but it is still very similar. You can see a lot of the base is still there. But I mean, this is one of the things why the switch to Unreal and stuff is kind of good. And at least they're not trying to maintain their own engine as much anymore. And I don't think Unreal's great, but to be quite frank, the engine that they've been using for Total War for ages is worse. It's like Unreal is not great, but it's better than just from continuing with what they had. Hi, Lord Grandmaster. As far as we know, this might be the same engine as the original Pong. No, wait. Old lore is coming back to me. I remember an interview from when I was but a kid, and they said that we took the engine from Pong and we realised we could turn it into a Total War sim. I'm joking. Well, yeah, so they've been doing a lot of stuff. Oh, yeah, Siege rework is coming along. They showed off some of the Siege stuff. Siege towers and stuff. Can I find the Siege towers here to show you? No, it's Todd. When did they do the Siege towers? Was it after or before Todd? I forgot. Oh, here it is. Here it is. So we've got new Siege... Oh, darn it, more adverts. We've got new Siege towers. Well, these are Siege ladder towers, which I don't know how to feel about it. So I'll show you the Skaven one at the moment. Because that's basically indicative of how they all look. Oops. Here you go. Here's a Skaven one. So instead of having your butt ladders, instead you now build these things. And if you've ever played for old Total War games like Rome 1, Medieval 2 and stuff, you'll know that you could build siege ladders and they were literally just ladders on the ground that your people carry and they just put them against the walls. Very similar to how the ladders work in Warhammer Total War 3. But instead of them appearing from nowhere, they literally just carried them around. And this feels more like a siege tower. It's bigger, it's easier to shoot at, just like a siege tower is. It doesn't give the same protection like a siege tower does, but if a siege tower gets destroyed, the infantry inside it gets killed. At least it won't happen here. So it does take longer to deploy your troops on the ladders, and they're going to be more tired getting onto the walls than they would be on a siege tower, sorry. So it's basically just a worse siege ladder as it stands. Siege rework is hype. We're finally getting... The main issue, though, for the stupid siege is for AI and for stupid pathfinding. That's the worst thing of a siege, is for pathfinding. My most infuriating moments has always been for pathfinding. Of you're hitting a door, they open the door, half the unit goes through the door, the other half doesn't, they no longer can attack the door. And you have to wait for the half that's on the other side to die off. And they can't go through the door either. And it's like, oh my goodness, I hate this. Or you get your unit inside the door, and they can't attack it anymore for the inside, so they're just stuck on the other side waiting for someone else to come in to support them. Or you get inside, the door gets smashed up, but then a bunch of the entities get stuck on the door. Or a giant dies in the middle of a siege, and, you get stuck on the giant. There's just so many issues, and I hate it. That's what they need to fix. I do hope that the unit AI in Sieges gets fixed. I hate the conga line. Yeah, the conga line is annoying too. Flying casters just make Sieges too easy. The AI doesn't move, just standing there. Like they do. In my experience, they do move, especially if they have any flying or shooting units of their own. They will try to, take out your caster. But often that just helps you out. Yeah, flying casters do make sieges kind of a bit easy. Or just flying units in general, flying ranged units, dragons with their breath attacks. They all make sieges. Or just artillery. But really, you should expect those things to make sieges a lot easier. Like, I mean, in lore, you get cities being devastated by a single dragon or a single caster on a dragon. So it does make sense. Ghost units should be able to climb walls without ladders. Yeah, that could be fun. I mean, the role of ghost units are just to be quite hard to kill without magic weapons. You know, I'll close these things. We've already looked at them now. We know what's coming. But then we've got the character pack. They showed off Bathsheba herself, but we've already seen Bathsheba. They just showed some animations and stuff. If you want to go and see her, you can just check out the stream. Like, where is she? She's here. Bathsheba, the legendary lord. You got the Tiger Warriors. Tony the Tiger. They did show off another character that they had though. I think it's the 3LC, so the 3 hero. Tao Yan. She's an anti-large hero and a trident helps you execute. She actually seemed really cool. I'll try and find her now. But she had a really powerful ability as well, I believe. I bet they're going to have ghost units being able to scale walls, but turn their stairs invisible. Oh, here we go. We can see some of the unit abilities. So here we go. So here's the unit abilities. You got Heaven's Gate on her, which she can do. An exploding white tiger. Unit affects tiger warriors nearby, giving them melee attack and leadership. She's got a cool active ability that gives them melee attack and more damage, and makes people flammable. I didn't realize that. So that is for the tiger.
That is for the tiger.
I know. I'm saying this is for the tiger.
Tarian.
Sorry, yeah, I meant this is for the tiger. Bathsheba. Oh, Bathsheba! I know this isn't Tarian. I'm just like, oh wait, yeah, Bathsheba. I forgot they showed off her abilities on here. Because I don't think they did that before. She reveals units nearby. And she's got a Heaven's Gate where she explodes stuff. And she'll teleport, yeah. If you're on the stream, Tao Yan appears at 110. Yeah. Do. Tao Yan. Can I see her image? There she is. Oh, yeah, she won't have her blooming. Here is Tao Yan. She is absolutely... I'd say she's insane. She's not absolutely insane. She's got some cool stuff going on with her. She's definitely an anti-ogre unit, which is interesting to say the least, because isn't she meant to be... She's not part of the North tribe, is she? She's got armor 90, leadership of 80. Oh my gosh, yeah, you can't really see that one. Speed 34, melee attack of 50 of magical attacks, melee defense 60, anti-large for 20 damage. Oh yeah, does a lot of arm piercing. And there she is. She's this tiny person over here. She's exiled from the southern tribes. Yeah, why not have a defender's route instead? And attackers route outside? Oh, also AI defending a walled settlement enough to retreat to the outside wall and behind you. Yeah, I do think that's weird. I do think sometimes it kind of makes sense, whether like, the city is lost, run away. But most of the time when I do have them trying to flee outside, it's usually when I don't have lots of units on the other side. It's like, do you know where you send a monster down one side of the enemy settlement? And as a result, you end up having the units fleeing for monster by not going further into the city where the monster is, instead fleeing out of the city into the wilderness. Well, I don't have any units. She also has a trident and loves poking. She does. And she also hates peasants and commoners. And her entire law is that she is super, super aggressive at putting them down. But I believe she's in the West Provinces. Oh, wait, is she with the Tiger Lord? Isn't that the case? The route through you and then behind. Why run into me and pass me? Why not away? Yeah. That is it. I've not really seen that much when I've done sieges, but again, when I do sieges, I usually just send in a few units. I'm not doing a massive siege battle. So, yeah, she is friends with a Tiger Lord. Yeah. Let's see her abilities. I swear she's got a super powerful ability that I remember seeing. Like, doesn't she have the ability to give units around her execute or something like that? Here we go. Oh no, she gives it to herself, sorry. I think she's cool. I think with her being a hero, you'll be able to use her in any army. Oh my gosh, is this tiny? Can I get a better image from that? I thought that was bigger. I'll try this again. That's what she said, by the way. Open image in... There we go. That's the better image. So here we go. She's got brutal wounds, melee attack, cooldown. So this is on cooldown. Loads of melee attack, loads of armor piercing, loads of brutal wounds. I don't know what brutal wounds does, though. And she's also got this. Effect increases as the unit takes damage. So the more damage she takes, the more resistant she becomes, the more damage she does. And she also has... Oh yeah, there it is. Oh, wait, affects enemies in range. It gives them... When I first read this, I thought it said it affects entities. You can't see it. I thought it said when it said affects units in range. But no, affects enemies in range, giving them melee defense. Reduction for, 28 seconds. But also gives her Causes Terror and Executioner, which is pretty cool. Root 2 Runes slows healing. Oh, that's cool, actually. I like that. She's not a super powerful hero, but she is a nice hero to get. So, yeah. And she causes fear naturally. Then was there anything else that was announced? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, for some tweaks, there's going to be skill tree upgrades for the Gatemaster, Alchemist, and Astromancer. And I believe they're also putting... Is it the Alchemist in a balloon now? Which I don't know how to feel about. Or is it for Astromancer going on a balloon? It was one of them, I don't know. Look, they didn't come up with a name for executability. I suggest, I'm gonna poke you. I'm gonna poke you. Yeah, Alchemist is getting a balloon. Yeah, Alchemist is getting a balloon. Which I don't really like balloons. Can't the Alchemist already get the flappy horse? Also reworking the Sky Lantern, but didn't say how. We're going to make it worse somehow. I like how Sky Lantern, in the board game, best unit in the game. Sky Lantern, in this game, worst unit in the game. Well, then there's 40k stuff. The 40k stuff, honestly, not super exciting. In fact, I do worry a bit about it. Imagine putting your mage in a 5 movement speed balloon. That is hilarious. Yeah, can't they already get the flappy horse? And unless, obviously, the alchemist gets some cool abilities in the balloon, like, do you know, if they get some cool shooty dudes. I think the Sky Lantern, it needs to do significantly more damage. Like, I looked at the Sky Lantern, was like, oh, this would be good at, like, killing heroes and monsters or something, like, just based on how it looked. And no, it's not. I think they need to significantly increase the damage of each shot. Just make it a monster and hero killer. Just really snipe them down. That would be amazing. The flappy horses of a drop. Oh, yeah. But I know the Astromancer gets the bird. The rocket balloon's amazing. But Warhammer 40k Total War, they showed off one of the planets, and it's just a generic hive world. It doesn't have any biomes really on the world, but they did say they're talking about biomes. One of the things they did suggest as well is that each planet, if you to get like a hive planet, you have to capture important zones of a planet. So you're going to have battles on the surface of a planet in various locations. And if you want to capture a hive city, you might have to fight through multiple battles, like in the outside of a hive city first. Like land your forces away from the hive city so you don't get blasted from the sky. Then you're going to have to move towards the hive city. And then you have to take the hive city. But obviously you might have 12 or whatever hive cities on the planet that you have to capture. Which sounds amazing, but at the same time, it's like, trying to capture an entire planet, it's like a mini campaign in itself. Which it should be. That's amazing. I want it to be. But how many planets are going to be in the game? They already said that there's going to be usually multiple planets per system. Those systems will have sometimes like only one planet in them. Not every single planet will be, somewhere you can fight. Or, take territory on. Well, one of the things that's going to come about from that is how many systems are they going to have? From what the map that they showed us, it looks like it's going to be pretty expansive. I am wondering how many computers can actually run it. Like Stellaris already, if you ever play Stellaris, it's basically just an Excel spreadsheet that causes most computers to lag. And it's got battles or planets are just done by like an auto battler. And you don't have multiple, actually you kind of do. But you just fight once, and then the auto battler just does multiple battles. But it doesn't have a lot going on, and you've got like, what, 1,000 planets? Oh, 1,000 systems, sorry. Well, this looks like there might be well more than 1,000 systems. And it looks like there might be well more than, if each planet is, you can capture, it's going to be in detail. Those campaigns, like, I don't think there's going to be a galaxy capturing campaign in it. Like, that would be absolutely insane. It's got to be between 1 and 10. It might be more than, maybe it's going to be 40,000. If they want to be truly lore accurate, they'll go for 1 million. They'd go for 1 million systems. We're back to the nightmares of early Total War Warhammer when it took 15 minutes of the AI turns to finish. 12 cities on a single planet with multiple planets per system seems like a lot. Yeah. Now, it depends how they do it. It could be that when you do a campaign, you literally get shown the entire, map of the galaxy. You select who you're going to play, and you play in a small area of the galaxy. That could be it. And it would be relatively realistic. If you're playing as a person in one part of the galaxy, what's happening on the other side of the galaxy does not affect you. It will never affect you. If your goal is just to capture the planets around you, you're not going to get to the other side of the galaxy. Whatever's on the other side of the galaxy is not going to reach you. As a result, it might just be the campaigns might all be segmented. They've not said anything like that, though. But that could make sense, that it could be a way to do it. It could be that what they would do instead is your campaigns are semi-segmented. So what happens is you select like a certain area to play in. And as long as you're in that area, the only AI that gets really, is doing anything proper is the AI in your section or segmentum. And anything beyond your segmentum is just like, has a really, really quick brush over. Like, you're barely going to see any changes outside of your segmentum, I imagine. Or you might see it's not doing any complex calculations. That's how I would probably do it. So you just... Because, Warhammer Galaxy is already split into segmentums that are then split further into sectors. And almost every single campaign in Warhammer 40k takes place in a subsector of a sector. Or maybe an entire sector. I think they've only had one campaign that went beyond that, and that's the Indomitus Crusade, and that was absolutely massive. So it would make sense. Like, you'll have to go, here's your galaxy, here's your segmentums, here's your sectors, here's your subsectors. You're going to play in a subsector. And then maybe you can push out of your subsector, and then once you push out of your subsector, that's when it turns the AI on to, full AI mode. But by that point, you've already got full control of your sector, and there's no AI there anymore. And as a result, it kind of makes sense. That's how I'd do it. So it's never really doing much calculations beyond where you are. And they've also said they're not doing procedurally generated maps, which is interesting. I think it would definitely make sense to do procedurally generated maps. They did it for old Talk to War games. But the old Talk to War games did have some issues with that. For instance, you might just get a map that's entirely mounted and you can't deploy anywhere, breaking the game. And how many places are there where orcs, humans, and Eldar can touch? Everywhere. But Eldar are literally everywhere and anywhere. They can be anywhere they want. There's craft worlds. Pretty much every subsector has at least some sort of webway portal on it, some sort of craft world, something. But Eldar can pretty much be anywhere. Dark Eldar are the same. They can pretty much be anywhere. Orcs, you're never far away from orcs. They're like the rats of the galaxy. You're never more than 6 meters away from an orc spar. Necrons are just everywhere as well. I think even Holy Tower arguably was an old Necron world. Well, Mars was an old Necron world, actually. Holy Terror wasn't. So Earth. So yeah, literally everyone is everywhere. That's a great thing about 40k. And no one is really too far away from anything. But generally, if you're going on a campaign or a crusade into a subsector, you're not going to be somewhere else. But it's usually in 6 meters, you say, yeah. Really important question is, will we get Armageddon as a planet? Probably. And probably. I imagine both will probably be in the game. I don't know how the game's going to look. It might just be we start the game with a subsector, and as they update the game and release DLCs, they add more subsectors, but I don't think that's going to... It might be that we start with multiple subsectors, and like, do you know where it showed like the different characters you can play or spread across the galaxy? Maybe those subsectors, it's like, as I said, that's how it works. But I mean, I have no idea how they're going to do all of this. To like make the galaxy feel like a real galaxy. Like, the way Stellaris says that they do for Galaxy, it's like the entire lore of Stellaris is, like, yeah, there's only 1,000 systems of a galaxy you can go and visit, but that's because most systems don't have, like, do you know the hyperlanes that they use? Yeah, most of the systems in the galaxy don't have these hyperlane connections. They don't have ways of jumping into them. It's very hard to get reads on them using all of the software and stuff, so you can't really connect to them. So the law is, yeah, the galaxy feels small because really you're only able to explore a small part of it. I think if we think as a campaign, if we play as someone like Yarick, you get to play the Armageddon planet first, and when you finish it, you get to wake war on the next planet. Yeah, I think it's probably... I hope it's something like that, and it's very hard to know how they're going to do it. And they're not really saying a lot about how things will work in a lot of ways. Like, is it going to work? Like, Total War games are basically map painting games, usually. Total War 3, though, has been moving away from that. Like, usually you do not... Most people who are playing Total War are not getting through a full campaign, like, to long victory. And even if you do get to a long victory, your long victories are, like, capturing Lustria, capturing Cafe, or something like that. You don't take over, you don't paint the entire map. Instead, it's like you've seen most of the games I've played, it's like I'm mostly focused on just Cafe, and I'm just playing Cafe. I don't really spread out beyond there, or we're mostly in Ulfran, and then we move into a bit of, you know, a bit of territory out of there. And it takes a very long time to finish that, and then you don't really paint the map. We just play a new game once we've got to that stage. And it could be that they've recognized that that's like how most people will play now. And as a result, they focused the game into instead, hey, here's a small section where you can paint the map, and you're constantly going to have to be like putting down, you know, the fact that you can have Orc uprisings anywhere, and Orc wars appearing anywhere, and Eldor attacking anywhere. The maps they showed were said to be small to medium and were as big as the biggest. Yeah, the maps were massive. Without showing you the video, I don't want to show the entire video here. I mean, I could try showing you something. Well, I can show you like some of, if I go over to here. Hopefully we're not going to get an advert, because that would be annoying. But here's a planet. Here's a hive world. I can see there's multiple hive cities, and they did say these are things you're going to have to capture. I don't know how many of these hive cities will actually be like settlement battles, places where you need to capture. As you can see, there's a lot of empty space on the planet as well. But as they say, development in progress. But actually, you could also see there's like multiple destroyed hive cities. You can see there's things in space around the planet. You can see Hive City Fair. Hive City Fair. Oh, I think they're Hive Cities, actually. Yeah, they're... Maybe. Yeah, no, they're space stations. Hello, everyone. I also don't know if they're going to do space battles, like Battlefleet Gothic. Yeah, here's a Hive City. It's actually easier to tell when it's night on the planet, to tell what's, you know, a city and where you can actually fight and stuff. Because I think actually we were seeing not what I thought was Wasteland were actually big cities. So you can see here, the planets are absolutely massive. And here's just space, a fleet over here. I imagine they're going to have proper fleet battles. I can't imagine 40k without the fleet battles. I imagine they're not going to be full Battlefleet Gothic level fleet battles, because honestly, Battlefleet Gothic fleet battles were not fun. And maybe there'll be more like Stellaris fleet battles, which I kind of, with the ability to, you know, move your units about. I think that would be the most fun way to do fleet battles. But yeah. And I think they said that there's multiple, like, but to capture a hive city, it won't just be one battle. You might have to fight multiple battles to capture it. At one point, you could see a fleet in orbit. Yeah. It's pretty fun. Let's see if we can find... It's probably going to throw an advert at me. Here we go. Here's one of the maps. As you can see, they've got some cool, background things being shooting, orbital weapons firing, which I think is super cool. One of the things I do like about this is that you can see all the orbital weapons everywhere. And this is a relatively flat to open thing. You're not actually in a city at this point. You're just fighting around the place. Fighting around... Actually, maybe you are in a bit of a city. Looks more like you're on the outskirts of one. I can't remember what they said about it. But you can see all those orbital defense platforms. Now, one of the things we forget in 40k is the reason we fight ground battles is because there's AA and orbital defense platforms and like shields everywhere. Meaning that you are forced to fight ground battles because you can't get, orbital or air power to, win the battle for you. They said you'll be able to set fire to forests and destroy building clusters. Oh yeah, you can destroy... much of the environment will be destructible. But not everything. Some stuff like major fortifications won't be able to be destroyed. Just to keep some dynamism to the map. Well, not dynamism, just to keep some solidity to it. Well, this is basically a choke point battle. They've got it on it. A Game of Thrones knockoff advert. No, not knockoff. But yeah, you can see our map is absolutely massive. At one point, they will show some infantry guardsmen, like these massive regiments. And it's pretty much in the middle of the map. So yeah, you can demolish... Basically, if you got artillery and stuff like that, you can just demolish... Or like air power, whatever. You can just call in orbital bombardment on a forest. Anything. Your enemies don't have to be there. You can just call it in and be like, hey, I want to obliterate this. If there's enemies there, that's good. But you can see how just massive this is. I think this is maybe where the infantry was it? But yeah, they said cover is incredibly important, so I'm hoping for pathfinding is good. But you can see this is quite high detail. And this is what scares me about Warhammer Total War 3. Especially with, how RAM prices are going up and stuff. Like, they've always gone on the idea of they made each game that they brought out so demanding it destroys your computer. Oh, here's your regiments. Big old guard regiments there. You can see how just insane these maps are. Can't wait to auto-solve every battle and never see a single map. I think it'll be interesting. I think what you are going to have to see... Yeah, here's your guardsman regiment. And you can see those are big regiments. And here is a hive city. And again, I like all the orbital and the AA and stuff going off. It feels like for some Total War maps, Total War Warhammer 3 maps, I feel like could fit into that square in the center of this map. But yeah, it's so cool. Look at all the defensive things. Oh, we got shot! No! Yeah, but it's the fact that they are detailed. There's a lot going on. You got all these smoke effects. You got all the gun effects. You got all these massive regiments. What is your computer going to have to be to run this game? With RAM prices, with GPU prices being so high. Now even SSD prices are going up. in Evergo Garden, like a quarter of a map. Oh, for Wood Elf Siege battle maps would be like, you know, the size of this thing. But I can just only imagine the beast that you need to run this game, especially if they do have like 1,000 systems, which honestly I think they'll need more to make it feel like a real 40k galaxy. I think with 1,000 systems, they couldn't even have all the named planets in the game. So, you know. Actually, yeah, with 1,000 systems, they wouldn't even be able to have every Space Marine chapter. 10,000 points of Space Marine models a computer to play Total War 40k, yeah. Now, it could be if this is incredibly well optimized. Like, I feel like this is going to have to diverge massively from the typical Total War playstyle. Like, 40k is a game of stagnation, sorry. It's got multiple moving borders. As soon as you try fighting a threat on one border, you've got a threat on another border to deal with. To playing this game should be dealing with multiple uprisings, to have arc cards, to beat an arc card, only to have to still be dealing with mini arc wars everywhere afterwards. It should be... That's what it should be to feel like a 40k game. Now, that could be annoying, especially if you go with a normal Total War formula. But I think it could be very fun if you diverge from the normal Total War formula. And, like, because one of the things that make, like, uprisings and so on just kind of annoying in Total War is that the game isn't really designed for them, like Total War Warhammer 3. You need to change a lot about the game to make uprisings feel fun, to feel good. Like, that's one of the things about the original Total War games that made uprisings kind of okay, but they're kind of annoying when they did go off because it just made a super army next to you. That made absolutely no sense. But when you rechanged it so you didn't get the super armies, instead uprisings are fun because you managed your own garrisons and made your own garrisons. And everything took longer and you had a population to worry about and stuff. It was a kind of fun system. And you could go into, this game will be bait. You'll play as a generic planet minister and the whole game will be skirmishes with random 10-unit arc warbands. That could be fun, honestly. But if they do add a proper population and I think what could be good, a population and resource system. I want to fight a war that is so aggressive, I depopulate the hive world. Like, you remember when we were reading about Agrippina and how it depopulated its local hive world to keep running? And it depopulated the resources, not depopulated. It mined planets clean down to the core of resources to fuel the war machine. I want to do that. I want to be like, that was my favorite thing in any Total War game, was in modded Total War Rome, and just fighting this a massive war against a empire to my north that was just so much bigger and more powerful than I am, because I started as a relatively weak empire, and just my cities just being bleeded down to the bone. I couldn't recruit units anymore because there just weren't the people to recruit. I had buildings that couldn't work anymore because there wasn't enough people to work in them. And then it's like, I have mines that, oh, I can't build stuff because I don't have the materials anymore for it. But then being like, okay, I've still got these relatively strong armies, but I can move southwards. Because after I got to this point, the empire to the north of me had weakened themselves to an extent that the empires around them were starting to, attack them. So I didn't have to worry about a war from them. So I moved down south and just started raiding, not even capturing, just raiding and razing cities and stuff to a weaker empire to my south. But then I fed those populations into the populations of my own cities. I captured cities that had access to mines and gold reserves and just took control of them to fuel my armies. And then by the time I was ready for another war with my northern enemy, I once again could throw everything into them. And that was just one of the most fun things. And you can't get that in Warhammer Total War because you don't have populations anymore. And the other thing was trying to keep on top of rebellions. At first, keeping on top of rebellions was hard because I was having to throw my garrisons into wars with this northern province, with this northern empire. And as a result, the cities didn't have a population. And because I was like taking the population and cutting it down and having to overtax them, I was starting to have to worry about rebellions and stuff like that. And the rebellions that came off because it was modded weren't super powerful rebellions that made no sense that the base game did. Instead, the rebellions that made sense, but I could actually put down. Or I could even make deals with the rebel leaders to turning them into kings and nobles, which was important because I had family members who were dying. That was the greatest thing that ever happened. That was the greatest game of Total War I've ever had. And it felt so real. It felt so fun. I'm going to miss the end. You're not going to miss. Yay! Sometimes you will get to see Space Marines, but you'll hope to never have to see Space Marines. I think you can play as a Space Marine character, so I did say that much. But I want to do that, like, I want to get to a hive road and, like, just be like, this hive road is going to feed my campaign. And then you just fight this vicious war. When I finish a 10-hour skirmish cluster against the Groin Smashers warband, so I get to advance 10 meters, but I forgot about the 20th Sneaky Boy and see my hive road painted purple and disappear. No, maybe I don't want something like that, but I want to be able to like reduce the populations of planets. I want to be able to overtax them. And be like, I can tax them. I will have to deal with rebellions, but I can deal with a rebellion. Because that's not something you really deal with in Warhammer Total War. It's like, yeah, you can turn taxes off to help stop a rebellion if you want to. Sorry, drinks. I'm out. Who's ready for the war? Who's ready for the war? But it'd be also fun to be like, like if it is a planet that had an orc infestation on it, you'd have to burn out the planet. And this will give you like, imagine fighting off the orcs of a planet and you finally taken off the last stronghold. Or maybe you just leave the last stronghold there. You know that stronghold's never going to be powerful enough to go against your garrison there. And you don't want to have to fight 10 battles to defeat it. But you have basically full control of a planet outside of these couple of strongholds. So you just leave it. I mean, that could make sense. But then all you have to do is just every so often orc to resolve an orc army that just crashes into your garrison. Or maybe you'll get the decision, after clearing out an orc infestation from your planet, you've got like 3 options after doing that. You've got burn them all down, in which case you burn down, it drastically lowers your population, reduces your population growth, reduces your industry and stuff you can get, but it prevents orc uprisings again. You can take a half measure where you will probably get an orc uprising in the future, but it's probably going to be weak or it's going to take a while. Or you can take no measures, keeping your full population and all of your industry and stuff, but know that you're going to get orc infestations again and uprisings. I mean, it could be cool to get choices like that. I don't know. I feel like to make it feel like a 40k game, you'd have to change the formula up to get all that grim darkness and stuff. I mean, honestly, going back to how the old games work, but one of the reasons they moved away from that population mechanic is the old games had like 100 settlements. The new games have like 1,000 settlements. doing all the population measuring for every single one is. Sorry, I'm like swaying in real life, and my model's just like dancing. When my governor raises my taxes from 103% to 104%, but he built like 20 corp start processing plants, so I'm kind of chill about it. Honestly, yeah, that should be a thing. We should need to do more. I want to be able to increase taxes. I want to be able to bleed populations dry. And one of the things is I should be able to choose what my tax is paid in. Like, there should be multiple currencies. Like, maybe, okay, we don't have population for every single planet of like every single settlement. But instead, what you can do is, like, you've got different currencies, and one of your currencies is literally just people. And it's like one of your most important currencies. And when you get like the need to get the tithe paid, you can choose to have it either in people, currency, some sort of resource, like, you know, metals, materials, corp, starch, food, whatever, or you can mix it up. But it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun to have more management systems in the game. Maybe it wouldn't be fun. Maybe other people wouldn't like it. But I really enjoy these management systems. I really enjoy being like, okay, I need to feed my population. Like, if all you've done is capture tithe worlds, how are you going to feed your population if you don't have an agri world? Do you think they'll update demons at Armageddon? For 11th edition, I hope so. I really do hope so. I mean, there is a good chance they will do. When it's like the 2nd edition, so 11th edition is more of a follow-up from 10th edition. And often these follow-up editions don't always have new codexes. So, I mean, they do have new codexes, but not every faction will get a new codex. So demons are currently on an index, so we can hope that for 11th edition they'll get a new codex. Because maybe the Tyranids won't get a new codex, or maybe some other faction won't get a new codex. Maybe Black Templars won't. I'm Cupcake becoming a dictator again. Yeah! That's what we want to do. But I don't know. It's very hard to know what they're trying to do with the game at the moment. And I'm really hoping it's well optimized so it doesn't have to require a supercomputer to play it. But I'm also hoping it's got all these systems in. I don't know. I've got a lot of hopes on what I would like it to be. And I just don't want it to be another map painter. I think the issue with not making a map painter is trying to make a stalemate fun and not boring. Or do you know, not a stalemate, but do you know, keeping a sort of status quo. Making it fun to lose as well. So, but yeah, there's a lot going on with these things. You can always go to the streams to get more details yourself, or, you know, to see them up. Because there is a unboxing stream up here. And the new 11th edition looks like it'll be fun. It is changing a lot more than I kind of expected it to, especially when it comes to keywords. I'm guessing one of the reasons that they decided to bring back the close combat rule is close quarters keyword is because a bunch of weapons technically aren't pistols, but they want them to be used in close quarters. So that makes sense. But that's it. We went through everything. I need to walk my cats again. Here's the librarian that the new librarian is based on. And here's a face I painted earlier. I painted a face. That's a nice face. Wait, if I do this, it should focus on my hand. Yeah. You can just about see the eye on this dude. And the eye is blind. But big love hearts to everybody. Thank you for coming to the stream. If you liked it, then please give it a like. If you didn't like it, then please give it a like. If you praise your Omnishy by liking the stream. Also, have a good rest of your day. Remember to work hard but play harder. Take care of yourselves and be kind to others. I don't know why I have a random chaos head here. And also, eat good food, sleep well, dream of cupcakes, but don't eat the cupcakes. There's not food. Do you have a background playlist on? Oops. Goodbye, everyone. How do I end the game? Oh, yeah, we're painting tomorrow. Smash! Love you all!